It being 7:02 on Tuesday, June 19th, I'd like to call the meeting to order. May I have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Vignani, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chairman Dennehy will be a few minutes late this evening, so I'm just going to chair the meeting until he arrives. So with that, are there any walk-ins here this evening? Yes, sir. Name and address.
Good evening, members of the board. David Darty, 122 Gilson Road. I know right now we have a testing program. We're engaging it. We're trying to get it underway for the wind turbine. As a matter of fact, Al Barnett and I had a conversation today, and he and I have decided upon what locations the testing should be done, and he ran that over to Epsilon. But that's not why I'm here. Well, kind of. The last 2 or 3 nights, last 3 nights, my neighbor and I haven't been able to sleep because of the turbine. And there's something wrong with that wind mitigation program that you enacted a few years ago, where it's supposed to shut down on a southwest wind. It appears to be coming from that direction, and both my neighbor and I, our cell phones say southwest. The Weather Bureau says that, but it's still moving. Well, Al Barnett was good enough to talk to the wind turbine owner. And the turbine up at the turbine sees that last night as a west-northwest wind. Now, nature hasn't changed. The prevailing wind is from the southwest in this town, and it sure looks that way. Everything's facing it. Something's wrong. That's all I gotta say. Whether the turbine isn't properly aligned or by its weather station up there, but regardless of the outcome of these testing, something's got to be done to modify that mitigation program so it does something. Right now it doesn't. So
All right.
that's all I wanted to
That's
say.
fair. I think if
Just want to let you know that there's other issues there and ongoing. I know you have a busy night, so I won't take any more of your time.
Okay.
So,
thanks.
is it your opinion that Al's contacting them about the difference in direction of the wind?
No, he asked them, what did the wind turbine see last night? Actually, it was 3:32 this morning. What did the wind turbine see for a direction? Whereas my cell phone, the Weather Bureau, said southwest. I looked at it, it was aimed at me, and my house hasn't changed the position geographically, nor the wind turbine, still southwest. The wind turbine saw it as a west-northwest, so it didn't turn it off.
Right.
So you want us to make sure it's calibrated correctly?
Yeah, we want to make sure something's wrong, and I'm not in the wind turbine business. I'm a retired engineer wanting to sleep. That's what I want to do. You know, I could.
And just if I could ask, what was the noise that you heard last night? Was it the pulsation?
The AM, yeah, the amplitude modulation, the whoosh, the whoosh, whoosh.
Okay. Windows open,
Yeah. And then I shut them.
still heard it?
Well, I could still hear it, but I was able to get back to sleep.
Okay.
I took an Ambien.
Well, we'll call them and make sure it's calibrated,
Sure.
right?
And Al we're working together on, even though neither Al and I anticipate that you're going to find anything in this testing, because I've been over this before with you, that regulation doesn't really take into effect that whoosh whoosh, and then Epsilon has got a history of averaging.
We've gone over that.
They take out the peaks.
We make sure they won't.
I hope not. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other walk-ins? Good evening. Just your name and address, sir, for the record.
My name is John Chakran. I own Atlantic Concrete Construction. We're the subcontractor on Oceanside Drive,
Okay.
the seawall.
Yep.
We're trying to get trusteeship of the final payment from RC&D. We found out Monday that RC&D is being sued by the United States government and also the bonding company, Allied Worldwide Bonding. At the moment, we're owed $253,785.88 contractually, and we're owed $219,000 in unverified claims. Would like to
From
get...
from RCD?
Yes. We'd like to get this resolved. We finished the job January 26th. and we've been owed that money since. It's causing financial harm.
Yeah, I can imagine. Jim, does Kevin have any knowledge of this piece?
Yes.
I'm sure he does.
Okay.
Yes,
All
I
right.
delivered the suit from the United States government, including RC&D and Allied Worldwide Bonding, to Sean Monday. And I want to get in touch with town council so that we can do a trusteeship of their final payment.
Okay.
Will that,
Is-
By the council, I haven't seen it yet. Came in yesterday, I was tied up all day, so I haven't seen it yet.
Okay,
We'll go over and see.
go over, okay. So we'll make sure it gets over there to town
Okay.
council.
And we need her to contact my attorney, Robert Triano.
Okay, and you have that in all your documentation that you gave to
Yes, we
Kevin?
do.
Okay,
And
Okay, sure.
you've received all that documentation certified, I believe.
okay. Sean, did you have a question?
No, you answered. I just wanted to make sure Kevin was on board. I feel his pain, been in his shoes, so anything we can do.
We just need this addressed, please.
Well,
Nancy, do you know if they've been paid everything?
No, they haven't.
Okay,
Excuse me. There's 216,000 in retainage still left.
okay,
I get all the recs. And I've been lied to by them every inch of the way.
okay.
Okay?
So we'll make sure we touch base with Cindy this week. and
Thank
get-
you.
Get back to you. Thank you. Sorry about that. Not good. Any other walk-ins this evening? There being none, Jim, report, what, did you have? what-
Oh,
I have a long agenda.
you have a comment?
I'll listen.
Last meeting, I listed a bunch of grants that the town received since January 1st. That was on a Tuesday. The following Thursday, Lieutenant Governor Polito came down to the Cole Parkway Marina and awarded the town an additional $280,000 for the marina project. As the board is aware, we've received over $500,000 in grants for that project currently to put pilings in, replace the anchor and chain system. This additional money will be used to replace the electrical system on all the docks, which is in rough shape, and also to replace the current access to the floats with a more handicap accessible ramp. So where that wooden platform juts out, that's actually going to come off. We're going to rebuild that wall and have a much longer ramp or gangway that goes down to that pier to make it more handicap accessible. So very nice for her to come down. We gave her a couple T-shirts. So hopefully next time she comes, she'll give her more money. Another update, we know we lost the Widows Walk sign during the winter. It's back up, looks great. They put it up over the weekend. In addition to Widows Walk, I'm working on the RFP for architectural service to look at what we want to do with the clubhouse. Prior to putting that out, I will be checking with an OPM to get a value, if I can, on what we're kind of looking at, to see if it's going to touch off the OPM requirement of bidding. If it does, we think it's going to exceed. I don't think it will exceed 1.5 million, but I want to make sure before you do it. If it's going to, we'll have to hire an OPM before we hire an architect. If not, we'll go right to the architect. So I just want to touch base on that to make sure it doesn't get passed.
Time frame? When you, if, you know, just your best guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have the RFP out for either one of them this summer. Stop meeting in the fall on it.
Okay,
Try to bring something back to town meeting next spring, I would hope,
okay,
to get money to design whatever it is we're going to do.
okay.
You wouldn't be in construction probably if you did that in fall of 20.
Oh, really? Not, okay, not spring of 20.
Well, you wouldn't do it in the spring.
Oh, that's right, too. That's right, yeah, right. I'm sorry, yeah. So I was thinking of the weather. Right.
Spring of 19 would get the money to design whatever it is we were going to do, expand, track, whatever, the clubhouse. And spend the summer designing it, putting out the bid to start when the clubhouse closed for the winter.
Pretty aggressive, which it's great, but I'll be bringing that.
Don't usually go together.
No, I know they don't. That's why I was
But,
pleasantly surprised. I'll be bringing that up later on, though.
we'll try to get that as quickly as possible. I just gotta find out whether I need an OPM or not first. Hopefully I don't. Shouldn't be.
Thanks.
One more thing, we'll probably talk, two more things we'll probably talk about one a little bit more later. We had our regional SOAR update meeting today. The usage data for the three towns, two of the towns are substantially done, Scituate and Hull. The usage data is done. Cohasset is still working on that. What that means is they take the GIS maps of where we need to SOAR. They look at all the parcels and say, X amount of flow per parcel. So a 5-acre parcel in Scituate, by default, they would say, under the current zoning, that would be 7 houses at 70 gallons a day, so that parcel's gonna have this much flow. What we do after that is, we sit down with the engineer, we say, that's conservation land, that's a swamp, that's not buildable, and we back all those parcels out that we know are not buildable and get a final projected flow. So we're just about done. Hull's done, Cohasset should finish up within the next month. I hope we'll be further along than we are, so I asked today, I said, when are we gonna have information that we can deem to be actionable to take back to our boards and say, the regional SOAR project is viable, that's the road we're gonna go down, or we need to go in a different direction and look at maybe a packet plant with Cohasset to take care of North Scituate or whatever we have to do. The goal for that now is the September 12th meeting. They will have sufficient engineering done to at least point us in the direction that we think we need to go. And again, as Sean was saying, this doesn't move fast sometimes. I think sometimes we're over-complicating this, but I'm not an engineer, and once you start moving that stuff, you gotta make sure it gets where it's going. So it's moving, just not as quickly as I'd like, but we are still moving forward. Island Sister City, we've been in touch with the Irish delegation. We've invited them to come over. We're looking for some dates, September, beginning of October. They would reciprocate to visit. Once we have that close to being finalized, we'll let the board know so we can make sure that their schedule will work for them. The only other thing I want to talk about, I don't think I mentioned it, I had the pleasure, four fingers, of chaperoning my daughter's 6-year-old 6th grade Bourne overnight trip.
Well done.
And
We've all done it, Jim.
during the
No
chaperone
sympathy.
orientation, the camp director was talking to us, and he said the two groups, school groups that he has the best time with, the easiest time, that are the most polite and the easiest to handle, are Norwell and Scituate.
Oh, that's nice.
No idea who I was, no idea what I did, so it was completely out of the blue that he mentioned that Scituate is one of the best groups he gets down there. It's a tribute to the town, to the schools, and especially the parents. So I thought I'd share that.
So I said the parents.
That's going on. So
Bourne Dale.
that's all I got for tonight.
Thank you.
Jim, I have a question with regards to Widows Walk. Were you able to touch base with Bob about kind of cutting back on the pathways after Friday?
I was talking today about the 14th. I didn't get to them about the steps going up to the 14th.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Those
Okay.
steps are in really bad shape. So
Yeah.
I told him I wanted to get on those.
Okay,
I'll go back and talk about the other stuff. I kind of did fly by.
okay, thanks. You had a question?
Yeah, just a couple things. I just want to make sure that, who's going to contact Al about contacting Scituate Wind? Is that,
I'll follow up now.
okay, and just see if it's calibrated right. The other thing is, I heard that the lights over at the Al Kozlowski basketball courts over here aren't working, or they're blown out or something.
Some are the timer. Yeah.
It's one or the other. Some of them work, some of them don't, so I don't know if it's a timer or not, but if we can get someone on that to replace them before.
Yeah, there's been several emails back and forth, whether there's any light bulbs available, who's responsible for it, who's taking charge of it. To be honest, the school department kicked it back to us, so, the DPW has it, this point last email I saw.
Yeah,
We're
I
gonna
mean,
buck the truck.
we can fix them and figure out who's gonna pay for them later.
Yeah, they just have to find the right bulbs.
So they can find the right bulbs,
Yeah.
but I think it's the DPW saying they're working on it. There's also an issue with the time that's going to be fixed, I'm not sure what that is.
And then I know we're still working on the field up back. After school closes in a couple weeks, we'll.
Yeah, I can fill you in on that, I'll show you some of the numbers I have.
And the public safety building, public safety meeting for the stuff in front of the library. You said there was a meeting that was gonna go for the sidewalk and stuff there, and
June 26th, yeah.
June 26th? Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Jim? Oh, Jim, you set? Good, okay. All right, so moving on to the outdoor entertainment permits. Is Diane Wells here?
Yes.
Good evening. Come on up. I'm sorry to make you come up to the microphone and just give us your name and your address.
Diane Wells, 117 Gilson Road.
Thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. So we understand that you're here for an entertainment permit for an event that's taking place on August 11th,
Yes,
correct? Okay, okay. So you're looking to have a 4-piece band from 3 p.m. until 9 p.m.
right.
Great. And then have you advised the abutters, the folks around?
Yes.
Okay,
We've done this before, so they're familiar with it, and they're very supportive.
okay. I think I remember you having a 4-piece band last summer.
Yeah.
Actually. I do remember this. Any questions for Ms. Wells?
No? Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion?
Move to grant an outdoor entertainment permit to Diane Wells for a 4-piece band and a private event on August 11th, 2018 at 117 Gilson Road from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m.
9 p.m. 3 to 9 p.m.
I'm sorry, it does say 9 p.m., my mistake. 3 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Canfield, second by Mr. Harris. Any other questions? Any comments or statements from the public? Yes.
Yeah, David Doherty, I'm a neighbor. It's been wonderful in the past, it's never caused any problems for me, and I'm only 2 doors down from it. I'm delighted to see it all the time.
Great. Thank you. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
All opposed? You're all set.
Ms. Walsh, can I ask you a
Thank you
quick
for coming
question?
in.
Yes,
Did you hear the windmill last night? Was that bothering you?
last night. Oh, I had all the windows closed,
So it
so
doesn't-
I don't, but I am noticing problems with the noise.
Okay. Thank you.
But I don't remember last night.
Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, I need to recuse for the next.
Sure.
If you heard, you told me, it's bothered you.
Yeah, yes, definitely a problem.
Thank you. All right. Next is Scituate Harbor Yacht Club, our annual summer events. How are you, Maureen? Welcome. So this is typically an annual fair to come in and review all the different events that the Yacht Club is hosting during the summertime.
So yes, I am here to request an entertainment permit for 10 events during the summer for the 2018 season. I'm not sure if you want me to go through every single one of them, the dates. I have the dates and the times here on the list. It's pretty much the same thing every single year.
Yep.
The only thing I've added this year is a couple of weddings in the fall. They will have a band or a DJ, but it will be inside the clubhouse for those events.
Got to the October dates, yes. Okay, it's 11. So just roughly, just so the public knows, I'll just run through them. Saturday, June 30th, a marina party from 5 to 8 p.m. Wednesday, the 4th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Wednesday, the 11th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, the 20th of July, 7 to 11 p.m. Friday, a DJ on the lawn on August 3rd from 6 to 8 p.m. Wednesday, August 15th, music on the back deck from 5 to 8 p.m. And Saturday, September 1st, 7 to 11 p.m. for Labor Day party. And then into the fall, September 22nd, a wedding indoors till 11, a wedding on the 6th, 6 to 11 indoors as well. And on the 20th, DJ band from 6 to 11 indoors as well.
That's correct.
Okay. Any questions?
No, not at all. We haven't had one complaint ever, so.
I was just going to ask, we haven't had any complaints, have we?
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty strict about shutting the band down when it's time.
They notify me about it all the time.
Okay. Great.
They do it great. Morning Ray does a fantastic job.
It's easy when you love what you do.
That's nice. Motion?
Move to grant an outdoor entertainment permit for the Scituate Harbor Yacht Club for the following dates. Saturday, June 16th, for a singer on the docks with amplification from 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. for a marina party. Wednesday, July 4th, for a DJ on the back lawn from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Wednesday, July 11th, for a DJ on the pool deck from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. for a kids' splash party. Saturday, July 20th, for a singer with amplification on the pool deck from 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. for an adult cocktail party. Friday, August 3rd, for a DJ on the lawn under a tent from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. for Luminaria. Wednesday, August 15th, for an announcer with music on the back deck from 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. for a fashion show. Saturday, September 1st, music on the deck with amplification from 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. for a Labor Day party. Saturday, September 22nd, for a band or DJ from 6 p.m. until 11 p.m. for a member wedding. Saturday, October 6th, for a band or DJ from 6 p.m. until 11 p.m. for a member wedding. And lastly, Saturday, October 20th, for a band or DJ from 6 p.m. until 11 p.m. for a member wedding.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Vignani, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There you go.
Thank you very
3-0.
much.
Thank you. Have a great summer.
night.
Great
Thank you.
season. Thanks for coming in. Are Dave and Anne Marie Young here this evening? Hi, Mr. Young. So this is for an entertainment permit for 6 Hearthside Court on July 28th for a private party.
That is correct.
Could you just say your name and address, just for the record, for Lorraine?
David Young, 6 Hearthside Court.
Great. You weren't the gentleman that was at the Conservation
Oh, yeah,
Commission?
yeah, that was me.
Sorry, well, I'm glad you're at the beginning of this meeting, so I heard about that today, so. I know, I apologize, that's horrible. So tell us a little bit about your event.
It's a 50th party my wife is throwing, and,
For you,
yes,
happy birthday.
thank you. And there's going to be a 3-piece steel drum reggae type thing going on in the backyard from 5 to 9.
Okay. Pardon my ignorance, but where's Hearthside?
I was just gonna
Directly,
Right off Beaver
directly
Dam.
across from the ball field on Beaver Dam Road.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Great.
It's a little cul-de-sac across from the ball
Okay,
field
I
on
know what you
Beaver
mean.
Dam.
Okay, great. You even notified all the abutters?
Yes, we're in the process. We've spoken to them a lot verbally. We have to do something written. Is that the rule that we have the abutters list? And
Okay,
yeah, okay.
okay, so she's setting a letter out.
We are in the middle of that. for
Okay.
sure.
Is there anyone here this evening that objects to this? Nope, I don't see anybody. Any questions for Mr. Young?
Sounds groovy.
Motion?
Motion?
Move to grant an outside entertainment permit to Anne Marie and David Young for a 3-piece reggae band at a private event on July 28, 2018 at 6 Hearthside Court from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Vignani, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Young.
Fun.
Enjoy. Sorry about last night. Poor guy. Hello, Chairman. He was at the Conservation Commission. He thought that's where he needed to be. Yes. So welcome. We're right here at the 7:30. You're
7:30, you're moving things
We're
along.
moving things along, Mr. Denty.
My apologies.
Keep up the pace.
Not unfortunately, I coach 5th grade basketball, summer basketball. They have 3 games tonight, one at 5, one at 6. I was at both the 5 and 6, and they have one at 8 o'clock, so I ended up skipping that, but I was coming late because it was from Hanover, so any event. My apologies for being late. Okay, moving on, we have a discussion vote, Scituate Maritime Center catered list, and we have Fresh Feast. And are you here? Are you Julia?
I'm here.
Julia Linsky, right?
This is Kia.
So you are looking for, to be on the caterers list, is that it?
Preferred caterers list, yeah. Is it just for the Scituate Maritime Center? Because I was looking to do an event at the Lucky Fin. And it's, okay.
So this one covers both for the caterers?
Yeah, I put a copy of the list in your packet.
Yep.
Online copy. Just so you can see what the catering list looks like.
Yep.
It's a caterer bartending services list. These are the preferred caterers that we use in Scituate that have all been before you to gain approval. Check references, insurance.
Yep.
We also use tip certified bartenders.
I was going to say, that's obviously tip certified, so that's good, correct?
Yes, we're not going to be
Good.
using a bar service, though. We mainly just do the catering.
Just the catering
Yeah,
itself?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's not an issue? All right, good. Any questions from the board?
Been in business before, and how long you been in business and things
I've
like
been in business 6 years. I have a location in Classett and Scituate, North Scituate,
Great.
the Fresh Feast.
What kind of food do you specialize in?
I have,
Good
yeah, I do prepared foods, everything from scratch. We do a whole bunch of stuff, so like every day's a different theme. So Mondays we do Mediterranean, Tuesdays we do Asian theme, Wednesdays comfort foods like we're doing pulled pork tomorrow, Thursdays Mexican, Fridays Taco Fridays in the summer. So
So do you have a retail?
yeah, I have 2 shops. I have a shop in North Situate and I have a shop in Cohasset
right,
Village.
right.
It's with Stillwaters.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the Cove,
Yep.
yeah.
Gotcha, no.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
Any other questions? No samples?
Yeah.
Take a motion if there's one.
Vote to approve adding Fresh Feast to our preferred caterer list.
Motion by Ms. Curran, second by Mr. Harris. All those in favor? Signify by
Aye.
saying aye.
Aye.
Julia,
you.
congratulations. Thank you.
Yes, good luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to move on to the next discussion vote of oral. Robin King. Is Robin here? I don't see him. What's that? Oh, sorry. So Robin's not here, so I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll skip over this and see if he shows up a little later in the agenda, and then we'll circle back to that one, okay? Moving on to 7:40 discussion vote, new common viculars license. Mike's Sub Shop, Mike Feroli. Is Mike here? Yes, sir. Come on up, or as they say, come on down. So Mike,
Yes.
seen you before.
Yeah.
I see that, what was it, Crescetti's?
Machetes, yeah.
That's not opening, but you are. Is that what's happening?
Didn't pull it off, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I worked for them for a while and things didn't work out. They didn't do what I thought we were gonna do, so I skipped out and managed a Jersey Mike's, currently actually managing Jersey Mike's subs in Hanover. They've been open about 6 months.
I remember when you first came before the board.
Yes.
2 years ago, you had mentioned you were with Crescetti's, you were on your own for a while, went back to Crescetti's.
Yep, I'm
And so is this going to be Mike's, or is this
bouncing
a New
everywhere,
Jersey?
Mike's subs,
Just your own?
my own, yes.
No sub, no samples?
I know, I'm starving right now. I could go for
Hungry.
something, actually.
Came
Me
from a
too.
basketball court here. Same location, so.
Same everything, yep.
Okay.
Except, it'll be good, it'll
Are
be
you
better.
doing both the market side and?
Right now, just subs. Subs, sandwiches, wraps. Gotta do lobster rolls, even though I don't eat lobster, but I'm gonna do it, because we did a lot. We did a lot last year. It was something about dropping the lobster in the boiling the water. I feel bad. I'll get over it.
If it makes money, Mike, that's okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Get
it.
over it quickly. Questions from the board?
I'm curious, do you have any eat-in tables? Are you taking over the entire space?
Nope, just a little spot
You're
on the
still that
left.
small spot in the?
Yep.
Okay.
And then eventually I would like to, I'm gonna be kind of a one-man show at first, just to make sure it's done the way I like things done.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would like to do what I did in Cohasset and have butcher, like, full-scale meats and stuff, you know?
Oh, so you
Fresh
still want to
turkey.
expand different, okay,
Eventually, yeah, but for right now, I'm just gonna do sandwiches and that's it.
okay. All takeout.
Yes, I'll take out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tony, Karen, Sean?
Will there be lettuce?
There will be lettuce.
Just had to
It
find
should be
out.
great. It should be awesome. I can't wait.
Just fill up. Seasonal?
Excuse me?
Year-round? Year-round or
Year
seasonal?
round.
Okay. Yep, that was my only question.
When are you looking
Okay.
to open?
Hopefully, July
July
1st, right around there. I keep telling myself, like, this is why I sold my business in Cohasset, but then my phrase is, it could be worse, I could be working for somebody else. I'm never gonna work for anybody else again if I can help it, so it's all good. It's just always, every time I turn around, something's not working correctly, so I have to get it fixed, but it's all good.
What was the place in Cohasset?
Village Butcher and Deli,
Oh, yeah.
right in the,
Right on the corner
Right
there?
across from
yes, right
Red
next
Lion
to,
Inn?
right, exactly, across
That's
from
been
the Red
closed for a
Lion.
while, hasn't it?
What's that?
Has that been closed for a while?
Yeah, I sold that, God, 10 years ago, maybe more.
It's longer than I thought.
Right?
Any questions from any audience? No? All right, entertain a motion?
Approve a common viculars license for Mike's Subs located 259 Stockbridge Road in Situate, 02066, pending the Board of Health approval.
Motion by Mr. Harris, seconded by
Second?
Mr. Vignani. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Mike, best of luck. I hope you do well.
Thanks a lot. I meet with
Certainly
the
gonna
Board of Health
frequent it. It's a
tomorrow,
good place.
so,
Oh, good.
awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a
Good
good
luck,
night.
all right?
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to a 7:45 discussion vote, special permit, outdoor entertainment permit and waiver of administrative fees for Heritage Days. Linda Ferguson, Elaine Bogozone, Chamber of Commerce. Ladies?
Do we have to wait or no?
No,
It's not a public hearing.
it's not a hearing.
is it?
It's just a timing. Tell me you're not going to go through that whole binder, Miss Ferguson.
And on page 6.
It must be the sheet music for all the music that you guys are going to be performing, right?
Yeah, that's it. No, this is the Heritage Days binder now.
Good.
So if you ask me for anything, I'll have it, right?
Are we going to think of something?
All right, ladies, I'll give you the floor.
That you might not have it then.
When we
Put it on the,
One on the camera.
We can put the easel on that side.
What?
We can move the easel.
I suppose you're trying to hone in on the sponsors you have so far. Is that what this
To
list is?
thank them,
To
yes.
thank them?
Yeah.
You'll have to read them out loud
Not so
to
much
us.
for us.
Yeah, we have no idea.
Yeah. Are we good back there?
Yep.
All right.
So, Heritage Days this year is the 50th anniversary. It is August 4th and 5th.
Starting on the 3rd, though, right?
Well, Luminaria is on the 3rd, but really, the chamber doesn't really have anything on the 3rd. We kind of send out flyers and stuff about Luminaria, but our event really starts on the 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
So it's 9 to, starts at 9 in the morning, basically the same sort of idea. We close down Front Street, artisans and vendors there. Half of the event now is in back on Cole Parkway, where the music is. The Sidewalk Series is taking off this year, so we're thrilled with that. I don't know if you remember, but last year we had Tim Kelly speaks about the weather, so he's going to have a lot to talk about this year. And the fire department is going to be there. Last year they were teaching hands-only CPR. They're going to do that again this year, but they're also bringing their smokehouse, which is super cool. We have the Plymouth County Sheriff's Department's going to be there with their safety van where they do the fingerprinting and pictures and hand out information for child safety. We also have the YMCA's coming back. NOAA is coming back. Well, they weren't there last year because weather didn't work with us, but they're going to have the big inflatable whale that the kids can go in and learn all about.
Was that 2 years ago? They 2 years ago?
No, last year they were supposed to be there. That was going to be their first time, but there was too much wind and rain. And I guess the whale can't be out in the rain, so. Yeah, so that's happening, and Captain Hook's coming back, and the princesses. We still have a lot of the free activities for the kids.
Butterflies?
Outside the petting zoo, there's the pirate encampment, Toe Jam Puppet Band.
Children's Art.
And the Scituate Arts Association is doing their art alley again, which is free. So we have a ton of free events. The historical sites are all going to be open again. The Art Association is also going to do that community painting like they did last year, which was a ton of fun. Everybody got involved and, put a little paint to the thing, and somebody here actually purchased it. Thank you very much.
What was it? A community
art thing where everybody could go up and add their own little art to it was a big, I don't know how big it was, big canvas,
Oh,
yeah.
I never saw that.
Oh, it's in Art Alley, we call it now, right by Out of the Blue.
Okay.
And the Arts Association sets up there, and they have a kids area, a teen area, and then the community painting, so all free.
They got a grant for that again this year? Last year it was a arts grant that they received.
Yeah, from the chamber.
engagement.
Yeah, we grant them.
We give them the money to do
We give them the money.
Oh, I thought there was a third party.
Everything comes full circle.
No, not that I know of. We do it, and the Arts Association, we both sort of foot the bill, but yeah, we give them some money. So, Kids Carnival is going to be there, the Blessing of the Fleet, the boat races. This year, Tucker Patterson is doing a I forget the exact wording, but you can make your own boat, or make your own raft or something race. So that'll be a new little category for the boat races. Not much else. I did want to point out that not only are we lucky to still have Elaine Vargazon and Claudia Oliver working on Heritage Days, both of whom have been here for a long, long time. But we also have sponsors. The way that this funds itself, and unfortunately hasn't funded itself for the last 8 or 9 years, is through sponsorships and what we charge for the crafter tables. And this year, I just wanted to point out who we have committed for sponsors. So Coastal Heritage Bank, Compass Realty, Conway Insurance, Dunkin' Donuts, Fairway Mortgage, Goodies 2, Jack Conway Realty, Mountain One, Rockland Trust, the Barker Tavern, the Inn at Scituate Harbor, the Mill Wharf, the Village Market. And those are businesses that are located in the harbor. And then we have Anderson Fuel, Chrysalis from North Scituate, Express Towing, the Marshfield Fair, Morse Engineering, One Stop Painting, Richardson Gaffey, Sean Harris Enterprises, and Wicked Local have all committed to supporting Heritage Days this year in one fashion or another, and they do every year. And the large majority of those do not directly benefit from Heritage Days at all. It's just really speaks volumes to the fact that they support the event and they feel strongly that that the event continue. New this year is the Economic Development Commission has also, Ann Burbine, who used to work on Heritage Days for a gazillion years as well. We had a meeting and they are able to support Heritage Days this year for the same reason. It brings a huge boon economically to the town. It's the flagship event. It encompasses everything that's great about this town: the harbor, the food, the shops, the historic sites, the water events. So I just wanted to point out those people, and also the large majority, well, probably half of the sponsors this year are chamber board members. So not only does the chamber run the event, but they support it strongly. And I hope that especially the businesses that directly benefit from this event will choose to support it so they can continue. Because honestly, and it breaks my heart to say this, but the chamber cannot lose $15,000 a year anymore, or there'll be no chamber. So, so this is the 50th year. I hope it's going to be a great year. There's a lot of fun things going to be happening, and we need the support from the town and from the businesses and from the residents. We did sell. We're trying new ways to raise money. We sold the charms. We have baseball hats coming in.
Oh, if any of you want the charm.
Yeah,
we still
there's a
have
couple
few
left.
A
Couple left.
few left. There's not even 10.
Yeah, and so we're trying other ways to raise money, but really we need the support of the businesses and the residents in town to hopefully continue it. The costs just keep going up. Last year it cost about $76,000 to run. Wow. So yeah, it's a lot of money, And the other thing is we are setting up a. Some people call it Sign Up Genius or Volunteer Spot or whatever, because there's a lot of volunteering that needs to be done, and the 4 committee chairs can't simply do it all. So there'll be an opportunity for people to possibly volunteer, and a donation button on that page should they want donate that way.
How do they access that volunteer?
Yeah, so I sent an email to the person to hopefully get the thing back, and of course they didn't send me back the thing. A lot of times Sign Up Genius works by I would input everybody's email address, which clearly can't happen. So there's some sort of link that I'll be able to put out there, and it'll be on the chamber website, on Heritage Days Facebook, things like that. So, and we'll get it into the paper.
Good.
But so.
So as far as your hours, nothing's changed from last year, it's the same, right?
No,
Location of the,
in fact, I think it might be cut back a little bit, but,
so your setup, though, normally you set up at like 5 or 6, is that what you're looking to do?
yep, we need the, yeah.
And the stage, is the stage in the same area?
Yep, same area, same
As far as
stage.
closure for the street, are you having a setup stage like you did, was it last year, or you don't need to have like a built stage? That was, last year was a new stage,
No,
right?
last year was a new stage, and we didn't have to close the parking in Cole Parkway until, and we only closed a certain amount of it. We closed it on Thursday night.
Okay.
So that the stage gets out Friday morning, it has to be inspected by noon, so he's in and out of there pretty quickly, and we keep as much parking as possible open in the back there, so. And I think last year, the merchants were pretty happy down there because they still
So
had.
you're keeping that. How about the time? You said you're going to start at 9. What's the cutoff? What time are you, 6 or 7, or what's Saturday,
I think
Sunday
the last
different,
band goes
or-
on at 6, so I think we put down 8, we would be out of there. Oh,
Claudia,
here's
come on
Claudia.
up.
I know, they were early. It's Claudia Oliver, Chamber Board member and running Heritage Days for, I don't know, 20 years. She's thrilled to do it.
So what time are you, then you're looking, last band goes on at 6.
So we think that, I mean, it should be over no later than 8.
8.
And be done and out of there. It's a long day for all of us, so.
What about the
Questions
street?
from the board?
What about the street opening?
The street is always, we shut down selling at 5, they have to be off the street no later than 6. Same as last year.
Yep.
Front Street.
Yes.
Front Street, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
the other one would be closed.
Yeah, and we don't close down in front of Coastal Heritage and Rockland Trust until afternoon on Saturday because they have their drive-throughs.
Right, during Saturday, till 1 o'clock or 12, one of the two.
So from noon on, that end of the street will be closed down. And we did have a meeting with Sergeant Gilmartin again, trying to figure out whether they're going to do the Jersey barriers or they're going to bring a truck in to close off the street so nothing bad can happen.
That would probably be on both sides, I assume, both
Yeah,
both
yeah.
ends of the street.
He's just trying to figure out, he's trying to help us save a little money too, so we're going to try and figure out what is the best scenario. for closing that
And
down.
once it's open, the chamber's not responsible for anything that goes on during the night. It's gonna
No,
be-
we do
that's
have our own
requested.
security guard that monitors the stage and the tents that are still set up on Cole Parkway, because there's a tendency for people to
Yeah, no,
climb on
what I'm
stage
talking
and
about
stuff.
is like if any of the restaurants are having any activity after
Yeah,
it shuts
that's not
down,
us.
that is not the
We're
responsibility of the
done at
chamber.
6
It's going to be the
o'clock.
responsibility of the owners themselves.
Yeah, we're
And
done at 6
The town will
o'clock.
enforce that pursuant to the owners. It's not going to be a chamber obligation. Right? Make sense?
Yeah.
All right, well, good. What are we missing? Any music?
Music is coming along.
Next? Okay, we'll get to that one next. Questions from the board? Anybody?
Is there a donate button on the Facebook page as well? Or is it just through the website?
We're going to try and get one on the Facebook page as well, and if we can't get it on, then we'll get that link that can donate through the Sign Up Genius.
Okay,
We're
and
not
people
that-
can also.
If anybody knows how to do that, give me a call.
And people, the old-fashioned way, they can send a check to the
They can
chamber if
send
they
a
want to
check to the
contribute?
chamber, P.O. Box 401, Scituate, Mass.
And will be any kind of commemorative kind of thing to, because it's the 50th?
Well, we did do
Just the wave.
the wave,
charm.
just to kind of do some of that. We are going to have, sell baseball hats. We've asked Charlie Baker to attend the ceremonies on Thursday to do the proclamation. We'll see what happens. So
There isn't a taste of Ireland like there was in
there
the
is no
past.
taste of Ireland, and at this point, we do not foresee any alcohol
Okay.
at this point.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead.
Of course, I just forgot it. Linda, is there any type of like a special opening ceremony because it is 50 years? I mean, I know you've got, the pendant and the hat, but is there anything special that you're doing?
we
that-
used to do the opening ceremony at the beginning on Saturday morning,
Right.
and
Butterflies.
the butterflies.
long time
But
ago.
we stopped doing that, and and then it kind of stopped because nobody really attended.
Right. I didn't know
So-
if since it's 50th, it might
It would be
get,
nice, but we're at the stage and there's nobody
If we
there.
think up something, we'll let you know. In the
Okay, I just
meantime,
didn't-
it's being
Be nice
done
if you
now
could do
on
it during the
Thursday night.
luminary. If you did it Friday night with the
Yeah.
luminary.
Don't you do something Thursday night, a little?
Thursday night is when we have been doing it, and they read Patrick O'Connor and Jim Cantwell, well, last year, read the proclamation and, at Thursday night, yeah,
okay.
so.
That will be the same, I mean, you'll be invited, but that's an invite
Yep.
at the Bill Wharf.
Yeah.
Other questions at all?
No.
Just a quick comment, John. I think you guys do a great job. I think every year it gets better and better and better, and I hear so many good things from the people that go there and just love it. It's really a family event. If the weather cooperates, it's on, people go there 2-3 times over the course of the weekend, and, you guys do just endless work. I see all three of you walking around there for 72 straight hours, getting it in order, and it takes a lot to get it to go. So I hope that the other establishments that benefit from this donate money to it. I hope that it stays at the quality that it's been, so that the town really does enjoy it. So,
Yeah.
you may not think you're appreciated, but we appreciate the fact that all the energy that goes into it.
Thank you,
So keep it up.
thank you.
Motion?
Move that the Board of Selectmen approve Heritage Day's special event permit starting on August 3rd with a setup time of 5, is it AM?
AM.
It is, on August 3rd, and take down by 6 PM on August 5th.
Motion by Ms. Curran, seconded
Second.
by Ms. Canfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now you're seeking a waiver of the 10% administrative fee, which is a part of from the police department, DPW, and the fire. I think we've
Yes.
done this 2 years in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
Last year was their first year, but
Was it
we'd like
first
it
year?
2 years in a row, so.
Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Other questions from the board on that topic? Anybody?
Yeah, it's our way of supporting them.
Yes.
Okay?
Well put.
I think we've talked about it while there's certain events that, John and I have spoken about for a number of years. There's certain events in town that are really the character of the town, and this is one of them, and I support it 100%.
I'll take a motion then.
Move that the Board of Selectmen approve waiving the 2018 10% administration fees for the Scituate Police Department, DPW, and Fire.
Motion by Ms.
Second.
Curran, seconded by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Now we're going to move on to your entertainment.
Now we get to ask the fun questions.
So, you're looking for entertainment at the main stage at Cole Parkway, starting on August 4th, 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. That's on Saturday. And on Sunday, you're looking from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. Is that the same as last year? It is. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But the permit just went to 6 PM.
Yeah, when you said the times, I questioned it.
The last band on Sunday goes on at 4:30, so we're probably over by 6, which I think is why we had 6 on the permit, so.
Okay.
Give yourself a little,
Do you have a copy of
All
the
right,
permit?
so 7 would be
Yeah.
great.
Do you have a copy of the permit?
I would. So we're
Because
gonna
I
have to
think
amend
we
that.
I think in the past, you've always wanted to move it to 7,
I
because we used to be
actually
at
filled out
6.
the permit and I copied the year before.
Yeah, I think what happened was in the past, we used to close at 6, and you'd be like, still trying to clear up the street between 6 and 7. It was just a issue. So why don't we do this? Why
Well, no,
don't we-
the street is cleared off no later than 6, Front Street, on both days.
But I guess for the motion, what we're looking at,
It's the total event, which would include the back.
so why don't we move to amend the first motion we just had, Lorraine,
I'll make a motion to
to move
amend.
it from 6 p.m. till 7 p.m. on August 5th.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Curran,
Second.
second by Ms. Canfield. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so all we're doing, Lorraine, is just changing the ending date on Sunday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Okay? All right, which gets us now to the outdoor entertainment, which is now consistent where you're looking to have the music end at 7 p.m. on Sunday.
Just the motion.
Questions from the board on that?
37 of 1
God bless.
30,
Are we
37.
having local entertainment a little bit?
Yep.
Good?
Yep,
Don't
same
need to-
sort of style as last year. in light of the fact that it's Heritage Day, it's bringing a lot more local entertainment, giving groups that are local and have local roots a chance to be on the stage. And then, the two headliners.
Good. Do we know who they are? Do you? I know you know who they are, probably.
Well, we
Does the rest
just
of us
found
know?
out, so.
We have some of them.
We have the two headliners. One is John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band.
On the dark side.
Really good.
Yes, on the dark side, yes. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Showing our age, that we
I
think that's
know.
really good.
I know, but then
You're showing your age. That's I
they're
don't know
still
who
on
they
the
are.
radio, so they'll be a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun, and I think we might do a little something with Eddie and the Cruisers movie, maybe the weekend before, something fun to do. And then the other headliner is Thomas McCleary, who is the co-founder of the Commodores, and he will be bringing us all the Commodores music. He was the lead guitarist and songwriter, producer, and lead vocalist for almost 15 years. Lionel Richie's a little out of our league. But we're going to get the same music. It's a great show. I think they have like 9 people in the band, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Great, Linda.
So,
Congratulations to you.
Good. That's
Three
quite an
of you get
accomplishment.
that,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
yeah, so.
All right. Other questions from the board? Otherwise, a motion?
Nope, no questions, no.
Move to grant an outdoor entertainment permit for live bands with amplified music to perform during Heritage Days at the bandstand and on the main stage at Cole Parkway on August 4th from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. and August 5th from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m.
Motion by Mr. Vignani, seconded by
Second.
Ms. Curran. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ladies, thank you very much. All the
Thank you.
best.
Good luck.
Congratulations.
Good job.
All right, so now we're going to move on to our 7:55 vote discussion. Actually, strike that. 7:55, discuss and vote interfund borrowing. Pam, our esteemed treasurer collector, Abitabli. Pam, how are you?
Well, thank you.
Haven't been up here in a while. Haven't seen you.
No,
Means you're doing a great job. Keeping quiet back there, and now the good stuff is happening, huh?
quiet. They keep me locked in my office. I'm here for an interfund borrowing that will, from the annual town meeting for FY19.
Yep.
We're doing it now because the board doesn't meet again until July 10th, and a lot of these items here that we're asking for are in desperate need, especially the water trucks for the water department. And the water department already has contracts that you'll be reviewing tonight for those items. So we want to get the money so we can pay for them.
And it would be effective July 1st.
Okay.
Yeah. So the article was the capital planning article 3 that was approved at the annual town meeting, and we're looking for item E that was authorized in the amount of $200,000 for the road and sideway improvements.
Must be sidewalks. I
Yes.
bet.
I don't know. I have a
That's
little.
a sad way.
I don't want to be walking on a sideway when I want to be walking on a
I get that
sidewalk.
little
I'm not going to go in the right
spelling error in
direction
there.
there.
The other item is item 00, which was authorized in the amount of $53,000 for the replacement of vehicle number 34, a 2005 Chevy pickup truck with plow. The next item is item QQ, which was authorized in the amount of $65,000 for the replacement of vehicle number 37, a 2006 Chevy van with plow. And the last item we are looking to borrow is item SS, which was authorized in the amount of $51,000 for the replacement of vehicle number 33, a 2006 utility truck with plow. You've done these with me plenty of times before, but as you know, we can borrow against the appropriated free cash or the stabilization fund, and at the end of the fiscal year, we will then go out to bond.
Seems straightforward. Questions from the board? Tony, Karen, John?
I'll
None?
cover the town meeting.
Motion then?
Move that the Board of Selectmen approve the interfund borrowing effective July 1st, 2018 request prepared by the Treasurer Collector in the amount of $369,000 for roadway improvements and replacement of water trucks.
Motion by Ms. Canfield, seconded by Mr. Harris. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, thank you.
That was short and sweet. Thank you.
Pam.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Next, we're going to move on to a discussion vote of Whittles Walk HVAC clubhouse replacement contract. It looks like it's one, if I'm not mistaken, maybe it's L, 8-WW-01. Kevin, how are you?
Excellent, how are you?
Good. So I think the last time this came up, we were trying to get some more information on the HVAC of the clubhouse that's getting
Yes,
replaced.
Nancy was kind enough to pinch hit for me. I was at the Public Building Committee meeting, so I know that you had some questions, so here to hopefully answer those.
I think, let me find it here. I got it here. I think some of the questions we had was whether or not it could have, could we have gotten a lesser amount, Kevin, if we'd gone out to bid? Because I'm not sure we actually went out to bid on this.
We did not go out to bid because it qualifies for Chapter 25A because of all the energy savings that it's going to create. But because of that question last time, I reached out to ECI, who is the engineer we're working with, and they did get a comparative price. And that was for $72,000.
Gotcha.
So I asked them to get a comparative price.
Yep.
It was $72,425. And I can leave that here if we'd like.
What does that mean exactly, Kevin? You asked them to get a comparative price.
So we didn't have to get three prices or put it out to the regular bidding process because of the 25A. So when I heard of your concerns, I just called the company and said, can you get another quote?
The engineer,
The engineer.
they all
who
know
we're
what
working
the
with.
original bid was.
No, the engineer does. So the engineer is an energy company. So they reached out to another vendor that they work with to do the installation. So the company we're working with is ECI, Energy Conservation, Inc. We've done all our green community work with them over the last 3 years. And because this qualifies for 25A, we work with them on this also. It's similar to working with Amoresco on the ESCO project stuff, which also qualifies for the 25A. And the company doing the installation for the contract we're trying to sign for $65,294 is a local company, CBS, Commercial Boiler Systems. And so when Nancy told me that there was a concern, I asked ECI, can you get another quote from another vendor?
Right. I think the blind process is what really brings the process to kind of validity with people not knowing what anybody else is bidding. I think Sean may have brought that up in terms of, we like that process better because we know that there's no.
Well, I understand the process, but this is the way we've done all our energy conservation work.
Yeah, and I think we thought that it was more expensive than we thought it was going to be to do what we were trying to do to that relatively small space.
Well, actually, in 2016, we started talking about this, and I had put it in the capital budget for $90,000, because that's what the original look-see was to do it, because of everything involved, because the current system, it's a package unit, the air handler's in the attic. The only way to get that out and a new one in would have been to open the other end of the building. So we looked at putting a new packaged unit, air handling unit, in the closet. It's a dry storage closet in the back of the kitchen. And that would have been all new ductwork and all new everything. And that came in around $80,000. And then I think it was a combination of the capital committee and the board asked to relook at different ways. And then I got ECI involved, and they had engineers look at it, and then we came up with the VRF system, the variable refrigerant flow system. And the beauty of this is we don't have to run new ductwork. We just run refrigerant lines to the new units in the building. We'll be putting in cassettes in the ceilings. And, two of the offices will have some ductwork. And the other beauty of this also is when we originally started talking about this, if we put the new packaged unit in the dry storage room, that would have been a lot to move for potential renovations, whereas this is not as much to move. If we did potential renovations, we can move things out of the way and change things around easier. And the price came in a lot better than our original guesstimates of $90,000.
I'm a little more comfortable with the figure. I talked to someone from CVS today or yesterday, and they had told me what they were gonna do, and basically you're looking at ductless systems like this, and the number of them, and the, the level of the energy rating of them has improved so much. It's an appliance, like your refrigerator. They just get better and better, more efficient. My only, and I was totally on board with you when I was talking to you today, and then, Jim had brought up the fact that, 2 years down the road, we're gonna be doing something there. These can be taken out, moved, and reused, I realize that, but technology's changed a lot. I just don't wanna waste any money. If they're working now, Kevin, I don't, and I haven't been in there this summer, so I don't know. If they're working now, will they continue to work for, a few more years?
Absolutely. The life expectancy on these things is 18 to 20 years, easy. And if you move them around,
I think he's saying the
The
ones
other
that
way.
are
The
current,
ones that are there
existing,
now.
before we invest in it, should we hold off? Is that what you're
oh,
saying?
the existing
ones.
systems there?
Well, that's what I'm
That's
just
what I think
wondering,
he's
if we are that close to doing something, Kevin, no matter how careful you are, you start moving these, and then technology, it's gonna get better, and it may or may not be worth reusing these heads and unit outside, so.
The existing heating system, which is part of the existing cooling system, it's a package unit. I don't think we would get through another heating system heating season with it. That needs to be changed.
Which, the one in the attic?
We've had serious problems with it.
The only
And
advantage to this-
that's why this whole process started.
Yeah, I don't want to see here of any frozen pipes. Now, the only advantage to this new system is we may abandon the one in the attic. It's all going to be done with these, or certainly for the most part.
That's correct.
Because these can be, they're heat pumps, so they generate more and more heat all the time. So it's kind of I just don't want to see us wasting any money, that's all.
I think
You're the
that's
guy.
That's my
So-
concern. I'm not saying it, because I'm happy to. I anticipate within the next 2 years, we're gonna be breaking into that clubhouse and adding a wing, reconfiguring it, probably moving the bathrooms over to a different area, moving the kitchen around. It's gotta happen. So that's why I'm like, if we're putting something in now, that's going to be useful 2 to 3 years, I'm all for it. I just don't want to be spending money only to find out it's not going to meld or work.
I agree, it's a great point, but the reason I put this on the capital plan 3 years ago was because of the condition of the existing heating system.
Right. So can this be used, assuming that we do an addition up one of the sides and reconfigure the interior?
Yes.
Can this system then be incorporated in at least a portion of it? Because obviously, if we add on, there's going to be an additional component to it
Right.
than what's there.
Yes, it absolutely can.
Okay.
I don't envision, I have no idea, and none of us do, but any changes we make to the clubhouse, it would probably be an addition going out to the side, front, or back, or whatever way. And I think the original footprint will probably stay close to the same. And these systems will accommodate what's there now. And if we have to move the outside units, we can. It's just refrigerant piping. It's not duct work, it's not gas lines, it's electricity and wiring and piping. So it's a lot easier to move than what we originally looked at.
That's all I need to hear, because I just would hate to see in 2 years, we'd be like, not incorporating into the new structure. That's all.
Yes.
I have a quick question. Can this particular system, should the capacity, the capacity will likely increase in the building, as John said, is there an outside limit, or is it one that can be expanded?
It could be expanded,
It can be
easily
expanded.
expanded, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
With the existing system, just,
Mhm.
okay.
Tony?
Nope.
Maura? Questions from the audience? Anybody?
Nope. That's it.
All right, then. Take a motion?
To award a contract to Energy Conservation, Inc. for $65,294 for the replacement of the HVAC system at the Widows Walk Clubhouse.
Motion by Ms. Canfield, seconded by Mr. Harris. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Kevin, thank you very much.
Excellent.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're going to move on to what's scheduled for 8:10, interviews, board and committee applicants. So if I could, everybody grab your books if that's what you need. We're going to start with,
John, you have an updated spreadsheet, just.
even from this morning.
Yes.
Okay. Get that out of the way. Okay. Did you know I'm colorblind? Just kidding. I'm not. All right. So we're going to start off with Board of Health. I'm looking for George. Is it Zizis? Zesis. Zexis? Did I say that correctly?
Xixis.
Zexis. Mr. Zexis, welcome. Welcome to the board. You're looking to, it looks like the Board of Health is one of your interests, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's also Zoning Board is another one that you're interested in.
Correct.
Why are you interested in the Board of Health? What is it that...
So I've been in healthcare directly or indirectly for about 25 years, working, for clients in the pharmaceutical space, doctors, sort of the whole 9 yards, and not just. So I'm an attorney, not just representing them as an attorney, but working with them on strategy and policy issues. And I have a great interest in the public health aspect of healthcare.
Can you explain to the board some of your background, just so that they understand?
Sure.
And it's primarily more or less the public, because we do have your resume. I've seen it and gone through it, but just for the people.
So you have my resume. So I have a scientific background, undergrad MIT, degree in biology, master's in psychology, but in neuroscience. I'm a practicing patent attorney and have been for about 25 years, primarily in the pharmaceutical space, biotechnology space. So I have a little bit of the background on the language, if you will, of the issues around healthcare. And as I said, I'm an attorney, so I understand some of the policy issues, and I've been dealing with them for clients for a long time.
Have you been to any of the Board of Health meetings at all?
I have not.
Have you reviewed anything with the regs at all that the Board of Health uses, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I opened up, and as with any of these boards that are administrative in nature and that follow regulations, you have to pick up the regs, you got to read through them, and you keep them open, and you keep reading them.
Now, I see that second choice was Zoning Board. What piques your interest in the zoning, or do you know much about the Zoning Board and its...
So I know what the Zoning Board and zoning boards do. I am not a real estate attorney, and I think that might be actually useful to the Zoning Board, because it is not something that I practice on a day-to-day basis. I am very familiar with administrative procedures and administrative law, which is what the Zoning Board is based on, if you will. And I thought I'd take bring a sort of a different perspective to it. I've been a resident here for about 14 years. I've seen the town grow and expand. I've been part of, building, not myself, but seeing the new school systems, the new buildings, all of that, and the town grow. And I think I might be able to help, not necessarily any more so than anybody else, but
Right.
I'm willing to throw in.
Good. Tony?
Yeah, just a quick, those two boards, in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, are the level of, or the potential level of activity is quite different between the two.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
ZBA is a
Very active.
very active working board, not that the Board of Health isn't, but Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, that's more of a, monthly, bi-weekly meeting, dealing with any issues from septic systems to,
Wind turbines?
What's that?
Wind turbines?
Wind turbines, okay, good point.
I hope they didn't hear you make that comment earlier. So they were, but you're right. It just spikes and then it gets quiet.
And this is, again, my perspective, because I just think the ZBA is a very, and John's on it, just one of the hardest boards I think there is in town to be on, other than, along with Concom. So what's the availability of your commitment? And you're obviously busy at work, and I know you have a
and
small child like I do. And
that's right.
yeah.
That's right. It's a commitment that I'm willing to make if the town needs the help, right? If you have other people that are better suited for the ZBA, have more time to contribute to the ZBA, by all means. You know, as I said, these are my two interests. I think the two places I think I can be the most useful and helpful to the town, and I have some time availability to contribute to them, and I'll do what I need to do for each one of them.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to talk you out of one.
No, I'm trying to be very honest with you guys. It's, if, you know.
So you do have the time commitment if it was the ZBA, or the time commitment if it was health and...
That is correct.
The ZBA fluctuates. What happens is sometimes they meet once a month. In many instances, it's residential issues,
Right.
nonconformities. Occasionally, though, then it could turn into 40B. Other times, it could be with nonconformities in the business district and
Right.
has impact. So that's when sometimes the timing can be a little bit more, especially the 40Bs. But you don't have to be a real estate attorney to be on the board. It's just an application of the bylaws.
Right.
And it's a quasi-judicial board that obviously applying the law on the cases, the bylaws to each application, that's all. But, Karen?
Yeah, it was just, my first concern was that you, because of the variances. I don't know if you said this, how long have you lived in town?
About 14 years.
About 14 years?
Yep.
Okay. So you know the back roads and...
I know enough of them. I can
Be
usually get
dangerous?
most places.
Okay, great. Great. No, I, the same concerns. They're very different requirements. Great.
As I said, understood, and if you have someone that has more, you know, greater availability and would be a better fit, by all means, I encourage you, as I said.
No,
those
I
are
think
the
you're a
two of
good
them.
fit.
Yeah.
I think you're a good fit for zoning, but that's me. But, John?
No, I don't have anything, no.
No, I think it's great to have somebody with your caliber of experience to come back and come here and donate your time. Because that's what's so difficult sometimes, is to find folks that are really, really qualified to, you know, sit on some of these boards. So, and the reason why we're asking your preference is because a lot of folks, when they come in, they give first choices. So we try to accommodate where we can and balance. So if you're open to either, you really help us out sometimes, you know, with other placements on different boards. So we appreciate your flexibility and stepping forward as well.
You're welcome, and as I said, I'm happy to do either one. I will only do one, though.
No, that's
I know it's smart now.
Well, good.
Noted.
George, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So here's the deal with zoning. We're not taking a vote on zoning tonight. And the reason is because the current zoning board is in the middle of a 40B. My understanding is they had a hearing last Thursday. They're going to have another meeting on that same 40B, I think, next week.
Right.
And if they finally determine and make a decision on it, at our next meeting, we'll be voting, because one of the members is actually coming off, but we don't want to take the member off, because then it would,
It
they're
makes no
one of the
sense.
3 voting members. So once that is done, then we're going to be dealing. So if you don't hear from us, well, you will. You will.
Understood.
Just don't think it's not. It's just because we're waiting for them to finish their decision on that 40B.
Okay. Terrific, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nancy Herdig. We're going to move over to Zoning Board of Appeals also. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm well,
And
thank you.
welcome. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in the zoning board?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I moved to the South Shore probably 20 years ago, and first to Cohasset, where I lived for a while, and then to Scituate in 2006, beginning of 2006. And during those years that I was raising my 3 boys, I had the opportunity to work across a lot of the community organizations, including being president of the Parent-Teacher Association in Cohasset and working a lot on the Drug and Alcohol Committee. And also, I've been a member of Christ Lutheran Church for over 20 years here in Scituate, so I'm pretty familiar with the community. My day job has taken me into marketing management, also for life science and pharmaceutical companies. And I've had the opportunity to work with multi-layers and different departments within pretty large corporations, and also manage significant budgets. So My education is, I'm a communications major from Purdue University, and I also have an MBA from University of California. So why am I here tonight? I am semi-retired, I still consult, and I really wanted to meet more of my community members after having been otherwise occupied for a great deal of my life. And Scituate has changed so much since I came here 20 years ago, and I really think I have an opportunity to help manage change, both with an aging population, with issues that, with kids that didn't exist 20 years ago, and also to really have a deliberate and thoughtful plan for the economic development of Scituate, while keeping the character of the town that I think we all really love. So I looked at the long list of things that I could volunteer with, and some of them were already taken, and
Yep.
I've had personal experience with zoning, having built a house, and also trying to sort out private ways versus public ways and septic systems, and so I've had just hands-on experience with that. But I think I also indicated interest in the Council on Aging.
Yep.
And I have a 99-year-old mother, and I greatly appreciate the tremendous opportunity to do more for our aging population, not only for those people, but also the caregivers of that population.
Good. Have you been to any zoning board meetings?
I have.
Good.
Yes.
Good. The one thing about the zoning board is it's more application of law than it is of policy. And what I mean by that is when people talk about how trying to preserve certain aspects of town, the zoning board really doesn't try to preserve, it just applies the bylaw to what's in front of it and make sure that whatever is in front of it, they conform. Policy, on the other hand, though, is more of like a planning. And I only mention that to you because it kind of echoed what you were saying, seemed a little bit more of like planning. And I know, and the chairman's here, but of planning, but I think there's an opening from an associate's position that they're looking for. So I just throw that out to you. It's something to consider as a possibility if that's what you're more intrigued by, especially with economic development. We have an EDC, Economic Development Commission, but if policy is more of your liking to try to think globally, not globally, but bigger, macro, from a macro standpoint of the town, that's something to consider because we're in the midst of actually undergoing a review of our plan. Master plan,
Yeah,
a
that
master plan,
sounds
okay?
very
So that's
interesting.
something to consider if that's what you're really interested in, because that's available, just to give you a heads up.
Okay.
And by the way, I want to say to the chairman, I was before her last week. I didn't realize it, my apologies. I said to the other chairman, it was Madam Chairman, so my apologies, Madam Chairman. Questions from the board?
So your first choice on your application is for Council on Aging? Is that, because obviously...
It's been a couple weeks, so I
Oh, okay,
can't
so
quite
in your
remember what I put
application,
down,
you
but-
indicated your first choice, Council on Aging and second zoning board. And same question you
But
heard
the
before.
planning, I didn't know that was available.
Right,
so
well,
that would be
that'll be
interesting.
appointed by the planning board, that's why it's in
And
there.
the Board of Selectmen.
Oh, and the board of selectmen.
Joint.
Joint appointment,
I knew
right.
that. Do you have a preference for?
Actually, the planning board sounds very intriguing, so
There you go.
probably throw that in the mix as well.
Great, that was all I had. Thank you.
Other questions? Tony, Maura,
No, great background.
John?
Same question, preference.
So here's the thought, just out of curiosity. That process, Jim, you can maybe help me out here. If it's a joint appointment, I would assume the planning board would also want to have an interview? Is that what?
It's a joint meeting of the two boards.
Right, to vote it?
You would have a meeting, the recommended candidates would actually interview before both boards.
Okay.
And then before the two boards.
Sean?
Well, just where you might have surprised her with that idea, she might want to go to a meeting or two or something like that, before she...
Yeah,
Before
I
we
don't want
commit.
to pigeonhole you into something and feel like we just
Sure.
threw you into it. Is that something you'd like to consider, or?
That sounds good.
Could we hold off on one of her choices?
Yeah.
And then...
Well, we're not voting on zoning right now.
Okay.
Just to let you know.
Okay.
As I said to George Zixis, and also Brian Sullivan, because of the situation that they're in the midst of a pending decision. If we take them off, then the decision is constructively approved without us doing it. So that's why we're not voting on it. The Council on Aging, excuse me, I think, do we have any openings on that, or is it just a renewal?
Just one renewal.
Just a renewal. So here's the thing we do with renewals. We put, I think, this person on 3 years ago, and they still went on. We generally have, when we put somebody on for 3 years, we generally don't want to take the person off after 3 years because they just got on. And then we have like a 6-year policy rule. And the policy rule generally says that if you've been on it for 6 years and there are other people who are qualified who want on, we generally will take that person off after 6 years to give other people an opportunity. And so I think there's somebody who's just on for 3 years. So there's a chance that we'll, generally, unless they're not doing a good job, we don't take them off.
Sure.
So that may or may not, I'm not speaking for my board, but I'm just giving you a heads up. It's not just for that person, but for most people when we're doing this. So that could be effective, but we're not going to make any decision. And in the meantime, it would give you, Nancy, an opportunity, take a look at the planning. And I would suggest maybe talking to Ann Burbine over in the corner. Not tonight, or maybe get your name and talk to her, outside of it, and she'll give you a wealth of information.
Okay,
All right. Well, thank you.
thank you. Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, going to move on to the Scituate Beach, Scituate Beach Commission. Mary Jo McNally. Good evening.
Good evening.
And welcome.
Thank you.
So you're interested in the Beach Commission?
Yes, I am.
Why are you interested?
I have recently retired from the Treasurer Collector's Office. I know the ins and outs of the sticker system, which is a big part of the beaches.
That's the money.
That's the money,
end.
and I'm very aware of the citizens' complaints about the beach sticker situation. And I think I'm in a unique position to hopefully make some changes, make some suggestions that would benefit
Facilitate it,
everybody.
Made better.
I realize the commission is about more than that. I could learn the rest, but that's kind of my niche.
So you're looking from the money end of things to try to improve the sticker situation on it?
Yes, for the residents of town.
Good. Questions from the board?
Sure, give me one of your ideas.
Yeah, that was my question.
She's not going to share it until she's on.
Actually, if you look at what other towns charge for non-resident stickers, it is extremely high compared to what ours is. I would like to see us raise the amount for the non-residents, sell less stickers.
That created a huge hubbub 7, 8 years ago because there was this one community, not South Scituate, Jim, one community in particular that wanted access to Hummerock, and it created a big
Well,
issue.
this would be the now $200 stickers.
Right.
For
That's South Scituate, Jim, sorry.
the Hummerock is a whole nother problem with only 75 spots for parking, and they sell 300 Hummerock-only stickers, plus the residents' parking. So, and I think the residents of Scituate should have first priority, unless we can find more parking spaces somewhere.
So I'm sorry, your idea is to raise the rates for out-of-town?
For the non-resident, yes.
Parking would be a good solution, too, if we could find more parking.
It would.
Temporary. But anyway, that's another one. Karen?
Have you had a chance to talk with any of the current commission members?
No, I haven't. But since I have retired, I have visited most of the beaches.
Done your own survey?
Yes.
Maura?
No, Mary Jo, thanks for stepping forward. I mean, the only comment I have is that I think they're undergoing, sort of evaluating a larger plan as far as beach improvements so that we can more fiscally, in a responsible way, project what we want to invest to each beach. So I think you would add great value to that process. So, thanks
They
for
recently
coming
put down
forward, yeah.
mats that actually.
Yes, that mat at Peggotty is
Peggotty,
fabulous.
it's down on Sand
Nice.
Hills.
Yeah,
I think, is
Minot.
it Minot? It's a great thing.
Hummerock,
Hummerock?
yep.
It's a really great thing, I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of good stuff.
All right, any
That's
other
nice to have
questions, or?
comment.
No?
They meet typically once a month, but there's typically John, you know, each member sort of takes the lead on something, so there's work outside of the actual meetings, and you're comfortable with the amount of work?
Yes, I am. Like I say, I'm retired, and
We'll keep you busy then.
I need to be kept busy.
I think this is one of the funnest commissions. There's so much potential. The revenue's there, the improvements to our beaches. We talk about trying to improve tourism, but not just tourism, just for the residents in the neighborhoods. Each of the beaches are somewhat unique. They're not all the same, and it's just, there's so much that can be done, and so I'm really proud of it, and I think you'd make a great addition. That being said, Mary Jo, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in.
Going to move on to the next applicant. Going to go to Coastal Advisory Commission, Robert Murray. Mr. Murray, come on down. So if you could just give a little background and why you're interested in the Coastal Advisory Commission.
I got my degree in biology with a lot of coursework in geology and oceanography, but then I went in a different direction. I got into logistics, so I really didn't do much with that degree. I was on the Water Resource Commission for quite a while, and I enjoyed, giving value back to the town. So I see this as another opportunity.
When was the last time you were on the Water Resource? Was it like?
John was just taking over from Jeff Rosen when I left, so it was a while ago.
That's probably about six years ago or
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Gotcha. Good. Satisfied my questions. Other questions from the board? How many openings do we have, Lorraine, on this? Is it one?
There's one.
One. Have you had an opportunity to review the coastal engineering adaptation study and all the plans that are in
I
process?
read a little bit, but I haven't gone in depth yet.
Yeah, okay. Right. What's sort of your, coming from waterways, having a good,
Water
never
resource.
say this word, water resources, okay. Different.
What would you like to
I just
impact?
sidestepped there.
Well, the towns at risk, all the coastal towns are at risk. And I think that the approach that we take is going to be very critical, and it's going to be long-term solutions that we're looking at. It just sounds very interesting to me, and it plays into my interest, before.
I see this committee going forward becoming more and more important for the town. These issues are ongoing, and there are really hard decisions that the town, whether it's in the short term, primarily long term, they're going to have to make. Because I think what we're seeing right now with all the flooding and the storms, it's becoming the norm. So
Absolutely.
this committee is a very valuable committee for a lot of reasons. There's no doubt about it.
Lorraine, is the open position a designated position? Sometimes you have to be inland, coastal to have representation. It doesn't, it just.
Inland resident, the person who's reading the board is the inland resident.
Are we required to seek an inland resident as a replacement? Just.
I don't know how you define that. We're on the end of Summit Ave. We're up on a bluff overlooking the marsh, so we're not really on the
Okay.
North Scituate.
risk.
It's pretty loosely defined. It's just really to make sure we have a cross-section of
Sure, absolutely.
representatives.
Yeah.
So.
Great. That was really more for my education.
I'm just looking to see, the one who resigned? That's the one, that's
Oh,
what
you
we're
did
filling,
say
right?
upland resident. Okay, great.
So how was your house impacted by the storms? Are you far enough away from it?
Unless, yeah, no, I'm okay. Probably my children will have to deal with it, but who knows? But we're quite high. It's quite a drop down. It's an abrupt, and I got beautiful views of the marsh, but I don't get my feet wet.
Great.
How long have you lived there?
About 25 years, so.
All right, no further questions? All right, Robert, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Moving on to next. Good. Howie. Goodsburg. Howard, how are you? So you want to get back on the waterways? I'm trying to think of the last time you were on. Was it 5 years ago, 6 years ago?
Must be more like 7 or 8 years ago.
I can't recall. Did you resign? Is that what you did, or did you just step down?
I was on for 2 terms, 6 years, of which I was the chairman probably the majority of that time. So, yes, I'm very interested to get back on. I regularly attend
the meetings.
I know what the issues are, and I think that I have some institutional knowledge that might be valuable to this committee going forward. I am a voter, big time, as some of you, or maybe all of you know at this point. I've dealt with various agencies on marine-related projects. I continue to do so even though I'm semi-retired now, because that's what I enjoy doing. So I've been in contact in the past with the Army Corps, Coastal Zone Management, all the state agencies, and continue to touch base with them regularly.
You're selling yourself short. I think you were instrumental in getting some grants for the town, Howie, weren't you?
A few of the grants, I was very familiar with what was going on with Seaport Advisory Council, which is now Seaport Economic. And by the way, I still continue to be involved with them on some other projects that I'm working on. But we were very successful. We were very lucky at the time to have a great team of people, both public and private, help out on the build-out of the Scituate Marine Park, certainly the Scituate Maritime Center, as well as what we did with the building out the marina and having now the luxury of having a service facility there through Scituate Boat Works.
I know you. I know you've done great work. So I'm content. Questions from my board? Karen?
No, I'm actually, your background, of course. You go to every meeting now, or you've been going in the interim? Yes.
Pretty much. I never really left it.
So, no learning curve.
Tony?
So Howie, is there anything that happened that has caused you to want to get back involved? And I know you were very involved, what was it, 5, 6 years ago, and then you took a little hiatus. Is there anything that you see going on that you think you can have a strong impact on, or that's caused you to want to get back involved?
Yeah, I'm very interested in seeing if there's alternative ways to market our resource, the harbor, in some other ways. And I think there's an opportunity to work with the Economic Development Commission, for instance, to see how we can attract additional transient boaters to town, which helps with the revenue stream for our merchants. I don't think we've touched that really as much as this one. So that's a big one. There might be some other opportunities. I happen to be working right now on a marine technology education program with the Greater New Bedford Vocational High School to, again, help get people trained to fill jobs, and maybe there'll be some opportunities here to do that too.
Great, thanks.
Maura?
Howie, could you expand a little bit on your role with the Seaport Advisory Council? Just curious, want to make sure there aren't any conflicts at all, because obviously we do rely on a lot of grants from that council.
Well, what we established was, at the time, this goes back to probably 2007, 2008, we weren't even an active member in that. They had to give money to our major ports throughout the Commonwealth, which was great. I saw an opportunity to say, well, wait a minute, what if we were able to get some of the excess money for some small projects, maybe dredging, which was one that we did here. So I stayed involved with them. I'm not on that. I'm not a port professional either. Okay. But what you find that is, like anything else, you want to be visible every chance you can get to be in line for any grants that they might be looking at.
Okay, thank you. I was just curious about that role. Because I think you'd be a great asset.
John? That's exactly what I was going to ask. And Howie and I spoke last month, or two meetings ago. So, and you told me about your experience with the New Bedford School, but do you think there's opportunity, or there's possibly more grant money out there that we might be able to get?
Oh, yeah. I think there definitely is. I think particularly with this administration, They're looking for ways to have capital improvements or educational improvements also. I think we just have to be on the
Talking about the
leading
Baker
edge.
administration. Thank you.
We need to be on the leading edge of that, know what's available and put our oar in the water, so to speak.
I can attest to how he's been very active, not just goes to the meetings, but, he's asked questions, he's very participates.
No further questions, Howie? I guess we might be voting on that tonight, right? I think so.
I'll see why
Yeah,
not.
right.
We could.
We could. If not, it would be the next meeting, but I think we're going to be voting on some of these tonight, probably.
Thank you.
Good.
Go on, can I ask Lorraine a question?
Yeah.
Lorraine, two residents of Scituate had said they sent in applications for waterways, and I haven't seen them. Maybe they missed the cutoff.
No, everybody's here, that's an application.
Oh.
You know, go to tab
Did you get-
24.
Did you get the new one?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 applicants for waterways that I received out.
Yes. Okay,
All of them were listed.
all right. So,
Yeah, there was a
If they're
revised
not on
list
this list, I
from
have not
last time.
received their application.
all right, so what's this list here?
That's
So
the-
these names are on this
Right,
list?
this was the first list we got, and there were
Okay.
some additions.
All right, so on this new list, so were they invited to come tonight?
If they were on this list, they have either been here already or they were invited to come. I think I have a couple that are scheduled for an upcoming meeting on July 10th.
All right. Okay, so John, to your point.
So we
So we
can't.
won't be voting on it
It's
tonight.
Craig Rosenquist and Dave Simkowski. I'd know if I saw them, and I haven't seen them here.
All right, so
I'd have to look into it specifically.
Craig's name is on it.
Yeah, it's on it, but we haven't seen them.
They haven't come in, correct.
So here's what we'll do. We will not be voting on waterways tonight, just so that we can
Sorry,
give them
guys.
an invitation to come. And we will vote on the next one, all right? Does that make sense?
If
If they
Right.
come.
I mean, they put in an application, apparently it did get in on time, and,
Okay. That's fair. Just in case you're waiting, Howie, Franny, we'll do that, okay? All right, so we have two more interviewees. Is Doug Alberg here? No, okay. I was gonna say, Doug, you're gonna have to wait because Maureen Dinsmore is here, and we're gonna have her go first because Doug is not here. So Maureen, come on down. I know you're interested in getting on our sister city with Ireland.
Very much so.
All right, so why? That's the first question. I've heard from people who have recommended you and speak highly of you, so.
Well, I am a little Irish girl, born Maureen O'Sullivan. Dad was born in Ireland, and the family still owns the farm, and I visit there regularly. This is the Irish Riviera. When I retired, I became involved with the parade committee.
Yep.
And I currently serve as the secretary to the board. They've now become their own entity. And I still have a continued interest in this because of my heritage.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that with my work with the parade committee and also being on this West Cork board or committee, that it would be a wonderful liaison position for the West Cork.
Gotcha. They're working hard. Have you talked to Brenda O'Connor?
I haven't spoken to her. Well,
She's the chair.
I've not really I've spoken to her, but we've never really, had
Discussed.
in-depth conversation.
Have you been to any of the meetings? by
Yes, I
chance?
certainly,
You have?
not to the West Cork.
Okay.
I've been to the whole Sister City
I got you.
project meeting, yep.
Good. All right.
Paid my dues.
Good. That's good. Always good to be a member in good standing. Karen?
I don't know if you were here when Town Administrator announced that there's going to be a reciprocal visit from the West Cork delegation this fall. So
I know about that.
You're aware of that, okay.
Yes.
And so there's going to be some heavy lifting between now and then to put that visit in place. So you're okay with jumping in on that?
Ready and willing.
Excellent.
And able.
And able.
When I was in visiting family this past July, it came about that, of course, everybody knows I ran for mayor years ago. And, of course, I kept everybody apprised of what was going on. So they were well aware of it. And it appears that 2 farms down the road, I forget how they put it, down the road a bit, lives and farms the Lord Mayor of Cork, Declan Hurley. And they invited him to come over and meet me. And he sat and over tea and all kinds of beautiful desserts. And we sat for 2.5 hours.
Wow, good.
And talked about the project. He was so interested in it. And at that time, Scituate had not appointed
Correct.
the committee people. So he was all for me
Well, good.
jumping in and giving it another go, because I did apply originally.
Okay.
This is my second attempt to get on this.
We're lucky so
Tony?
many people.
No, I think you certainly have the enthusiasm, you have the, the personal interest. I think it's great. I think Karen brings up a good point that there's going to be a lot of work in the next couple of months to try and meet
Yes.
the level of the visit that we had with them. So
Right.
I think that board is going to be very, very busy.
Sean?
And I make one heck of a Guinness, what they call Guinness buns. Over there. That is a cupcake made with Guinness with the Bailey's Irish cream frosting.
Again, you should have brought a sample tonight.
Sean?
I was just going to say, one applicant, one opening, is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. All right, well,
Why don't we make a
Maureen,
motion?
I think
Two.
we can if you want.
I think there's two.
Two
I
or
read-
just one?
What's the resigned and resigned?
Just one.
Just one, yep.
There's some renewals.
There are some renewals.
Three, I believe, off the top of my head. I'm not-
What's the?
Okay.
Right. Renewals, one opening, one person resigned.
That's just the liaison.
That's just liaison, yeah. Yeah, so
There's
there'll be
one that's a full member, I believe. Kate Miller.
That's all that is.
I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to be voting on this a little later on, okay? I should have said this with all interviewees, but if you get on, which there's no competition, before you're actually appointed and sworn in, you have to take this test. It's conflicts of interest test.
Okay.
It's online, and you just keep taking it till you pass it. Not that you'll pass it with flying colors, but I'm saying the bottom line is you got to be able to do that before you actually are full-fledged members. So just to give you a little heads up, and I'm sure Lorraine will explain further in the future. So
Should we, in this case, as Sean mentioned, do you want to just vote?
Yes.
I entertain a motion if you got one.
So I was just looking for that.
Move to appoint Maureen Dinsmore to the
Sister
City
Let's get the word on it.
West Coast.
Sister City, Ireland, Cork
for
County.
2-year commitment
Uh,
until a successor is named and upon
Pending
completion of.
approval.
Here it is.
Where's the language?
Move to
Sorry, we don't
appoint-
have that.
Move to appoint Maureen Dinsmore to the Sister City Island for a term of 2 years or until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training program is completed within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. Vignani. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you very, very
Well,
much.
thank you. Thank you for
Looking
getting
forward
involved. We
to the-
appreciate it. All right.
Next time I'll bring buns.
All right, so that completes, Doug Alberg's not here, right? No. That completes our interviewees, and so now we're going to move on to 8:30 presentation. We're a little late. Plastic bags. Lisa Scanlon. Lisa, how are you? Good?
There's so much paper.
Oh, I don't.
Should we be sharing the microphone?
Yeah, if you could.
Not touch it, or?
I'll
No, you
probably
can
ask
move
you
it.
to introduce yourselves, if that's okay.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to present our concerns about the current use of single-use plastic bags and our article for the reduction of single-use plastic bags bylaw. My name is Lisa Scanlon. I'm the Scituate representative on the Sustainable South Shore Committee.
Kate Glennon. Milena Davidova.
It's okay. Good evening, welcome.
And we are here as a group of concerned Scituate citizens whose long-range mission is to create a cleaner environment for animals and people alike Our first goal, and the only initiative we plan to speak to tonight, is to encourage Scituate to join the 80 other Massachusetts communities that have passed bans on single-use plastic bags. Kate is going to speak to you a little bit about the environmental impacts of plastic bags.
We also brought a sample. It is not a Guinness cupcake, I'm sorry to say. That is our single-use plastic bag that we are referring to. Our goal is to reduce the impact on the environment, both local and global. As a seaside community, we are stewards of our piece of the Massachusetts Bay shoreline. Scituate boaters will tell you it's not uncommon to see plastic bags visible in our waters as you sail. And if you look at the artwork behind you, you can see there's a white line there of plastic film floating on the surface of the ocean. Just kidding. We'd like that to be surf clean. Both toothed and baleen whales will ingest whole bags, as we've seen in the news, and die from the blockage. Smaller pieces line bird nests, and all of these end up as microscopic particles. In the ocean, these particles are not only found inside plankton, but the sheer quantity of it is now displacing plankton in the marine food chain. The nature of plastic is that it does not biodegrade. If a bag says it is recyclable plastic, it's not really true. The pieces get smaller and smaller. The neurotoxins work their way down the food chain until the point where the toxins start bioaccumulating, and then they move their way up the food chain. Whatever the size of the particles, a whole bag or the smaller pieces, it affects the many species of migratory birds that our forests host, as well as the humpback whales, dolphins, and the North Atlantic right whales that we just enjoyed seeing right off the beaches of Scituate this last month. It affects the filter feeders like oysters that we will eat at Galley. It affects everything.
Oral, or other.
It affects everything. Microplastics are literally floating in our air. They have been measured floating in the air. And they release toxins the entire time for hundreds of years, not stopping because the polystyrene is never actually gone. Plastic bags, specifically, that we're addressing in this bylaw pose a particular threat. They are light and aerodynamic. At only 2 mils thick, a grocery bag easily shreds and breaks down into microplastics. A grocery bag, the studies say, is used approximately for 20 minutes before it's put into the garbage or maybe reused once. Because recycling for plastic grocery bags is not economically feasible, and even harder now, they go to our landfills and landfills around the world that take our waste. They poison our soil, our water, and our air. Scituate is motivated to take this small step of banning their use because we know it's easy to do better. And Elena, if you want to come closer to them.
You can move that, just move the mic down. There you go. Makes it easier.
So Kate already mentioned a lot of the stuff, but basically 20% of the plastic trash entering our oceans comes from ships and platforms that are offshore. The rest, or 80%, comes from litter blown into the sea from land, picked up by the tides on beaches, or intentional garbage dumping. Remember, plastics do not biodegrade, but they do break up in tiny pieces. They're consumed by fish and sea mammals. Plastics in ocean and our environment is killing at alarming rates through ingestion or entanglement. Besides the fact that plastics typically can only break down to microparticles, it really doesn't biodegrade, but exposing it to heat, water, and friction over time, chemicals and plastics are released into the water as well as into the atmosphere. Direct toxicity from plastics comes from lead, cadmium, and mercury. Other toxins in plastics are directly linked to cancers, birth defects, immune problems, and childhood development issues. The simplest solution is a lifestyle change, and curbing our addiction to convenience of single-use plastic bags is a start.
So, where do we go from here? You said that citizens article, so is that the way that, to ban it? Is that what other communities are doing?
That's
Or
the way that the other 80 have done it so far, yes.
is there any other way of doing it other than through an article at town meeting, or?
That's the way we've found from all the other communities. I'm not.
It's a bylaw, so it would be a
It's
general bylaw.
Yeah, general bylaws, yes.
They have to pass.
And do you have in front of you?
We do.
Okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to walk through it just a little bit.
Sure.
The bylaw that we did right, and for those watching. The article is to see if the town of Scituate will vote to amend the general bylaws by adopting a bylaw entitled Reduction of Single-Use Plastic Bags. In section 1, our findings and intent, in findings 1 through 5, we included several of the hazards to the environment and to the health of humans and animals. And finding 6, we explain that Scituate is already late, a little bit late to this party, because as of the beginning of June 2018, 79 Massachusetts cities and towns, now it's 80, but including Cohasset, Marshfield, Duxbury, Plymouth, Boston, and much of the Cape Cod, have passed plastic bag bans, and more have bylaws pending. Our intent for the bylaw is the town of Scituate hereby enacts this bylaw to help reduce the deterioration of the environment and the ensuing potential health risks by eliminating the use of thin plastic carry-out bags at the point of sale, and promoting the use of reusable carry-out bags and other ecological alternatives. And Kate brought an example. We're talking something that has been stitched. That's
The
the
difference between a single use and a reusable, generally speaking.
Double stitched.
For municipalities, is that it has stitching.
Yeah.
But, it's good for 175
175, that's a requirement, minimum of 175. We did include definitions. To be specific, the plastic carry-out bag, as Kate was mentioning, is a single-use plastic bag with handles, including plastic bags labeled biodegradables, compostable, or photodegradable, provided to a customer by an establishment and used to transport merchandise from the establishment. Plastic carry-out bags do not include those plastic bags typically without handles used to contain dry cleaning, newspapers, or small bags used to contain fish, meat, produce, or other products provided to the consumer free of charge to deliver the items to the point of sale. So in other words, when you're in the grocery store and you want to stick that gross chicken in a little bag, that'll all still be available. A reusable carry-out bag, as Kate mentioned, is a bag with stitched-on handles that is made solely of or in combination of a natural cloth, synthetic fibers, or other washable material other than any type of polyethylene or polyvinyl chloride, and is durable, non-toxic, and specifically designed for multiple reuse. Recyclable paper bags are also allowed. A paper bag that is 100% recyclable and contains at least 40% post-consumer recycled paper content and is provided free of charge to the customer. An establishment, our definition is an establishment means any business selling food, goods, articles, or personal services to the public. Religious and Scituate charitable organizations are exempt from the terms of this bylaw. And we were thinking specifically about the Scituate Food Pantry, as they do need to, especially the frozen and perishable foods. In section 3, the plastic carry-out bag prohibition. No establishment in the town of Scituate, as defined in section 2, shall provide thin plastic carry-out bags as defined in section 2, shall only provide reusable carry-out bags that comply with the definition in section 2, or recyclable paper bags as defined in section 2 at the point of sale. For the enforcement, we are saying that it'll take effect within 6 months of the approval of the bylaw, so it's not immediate. And if a retail establishment cannot comply with the effective date of this bylaw due to economic hardship, they may petition the Board of Health for an extension of 6 months. The bylaw would be enforced by an agent of the Board of Health. The penalties, we have written there, that we just took those from what other towns.
Other towns have done. I gotcha.
And our, us three, as well as we have plenty of other volunteers who are very proactive about this, very interested in this. We do not intend to but just give up on it once we are able to get an article on the warrant. We're willing to mobilize our volunteers and ourselves to help with the transition with community engagement as we transition away from plastics. Some of the ladies had a wonderful idea of showing a powerful documentary to the public to meet with the Waterways Commission, Water Resources Commission, Beautification Commission, which we know they will most likely all be on board,
Yeah.
something like this. We plan to work with Village Market, the major retailer of this, as well as some of the restaurants who still use plastic bags, find out how can we help, how can we make this an easier transition for them. There's some, great ideas that ladies have come up with to how they can monetize this by selling the reusable bags, make maybe a little competition for design where, and then they can sell them. And have a little bit of fun with the reusable bag fundraiser, competition.
So this has to come to a vote at town?
Yes.
And are you intending to bring this up for the annual, which is in the spring, or would you be
Well,
looking to
we're-
try to do this for the special that would be coming in the fall?
Yes, we're hoping to do it with the special, yes. And
The bylaw reviews at annual, though, don't we?
We like to.
We generally like to put it on the annual, zoning in particular, but I think general
Just because the
do.
turnout is not as good at a special.
special than it is. But it's an important issue, I think, certainly for the board to weigh in and talk about it. This is great, though, the information you provided from other towns that I assume has been synthesized into what's here, is that
Yes,
pretty much it?
exactly.
Well, I, for one, have talked about this, and I'm sure I'll let my board talk first if they have questions. Karen?
Think this is well overdue, and I'm fully in support of it. But my question is, probably for Jim, is is it a stronger or more enforceable petition if it is sponsored by the board as opposed to a citizen's petition? I mean, is there any benefit one way or the other?
Whether it's stronger or not is a matter of opinion. I think coming from the board, it's generally be considered a position of the town, but it's equally enforceable as what's like not a petition.
Okay, good, because I would like to make sure that, should it get on the ballot, that it has the best shot of.
Well, whatever they're gonna go forward, with, I'd like to get it to me first, we'll run it by council, make
Yeah.
sure it's correct to form, so when they go out and get the signatures, that they're getting something that will be properly before town meeting, as opposed to getting signatures, bringing it in, we put it on the warrant,
And have
say,
to
hey,
change
it's not proper, they didn't do it right, so we make sure that was all set before they went out and got the signature.
But I would certainly support the board directing that review.
Did you say Cohasset has adopted this? Because I haven't seen.
Just did.
All right, so it
Yeah,
won't be
it is,
till
yeah.
December, so that we'll see.
Right, 6 months, exactly.
Okay.
I think Marshfield just voted at their April town meeting.
Yeah, they did as well.
Any percentage, all right, so I'm thinking if I'm, a retailer, so any percentage of paper versus plastic, so people, obviously, people don't like change, I'm one of those people that carries a bunch of those home, but we use them twice. You guess, pretty good guess what the second thing is, but, so paper, you're killing trees. So have you given any thought to that argument if people say, what would you?
You did it right there in front of
Did
her.
you say so? I'm sorry, I might have been looking.
No, that's okay.
About the sustainability of one versus
Right,
the other.
right.
There's been a lot of studies, most of them have been done by the plastics industry and the paper manufacturing industry. So there's a lot of complexities in each product that makes it very hard to have an apples to apples, oranges to oranges comparison. Because each product, let alone each material, each product has its own issues and comes from different places in the world even. Paper pulp comes from all different global places where
Right.
you could be, ransacking a rainforest to get
Right.
pulp.
Right.
And then there's another country that could be doing sustainable, harvesting of forestry. So whether it produces methane or not, whether a lot of water is used in the manufacturing process or not,
Paper.
these things are different and can be manipulated, and it's just almost impossible. They're both not good.
Can I, all right, yeah, okay, can I just ask you, maybe to help you, and if you're having to sell this, maybe paper bags are easy, maybe that's a recyclable product. It starts out like this, and these will end up as paper bags. I don't know.
It is more compostable. When you think about the toxicity issue, the bags are compostable.
Right,
They
right.
will release methane. I don't think the citizens of Scituate are going to really care about the methane coming out of a paper bag.
Right.
The recycling of paper, it is heavier, so you have a larger mass. If you're paying by the weight, you have an issue, whatever. But in terms of a homeowner, you can do more things with a paper bag than you'd think, and it does compost. It's not as toxic. The best thing always is what they'll say, BYOB is what a lot of towns will call it, bring your own bag. And that's really the best option. You get a lot of use out of it, they're washable. It's better than paper, it's better than plastic.
Right.
And that's really
That's
what
what
we're going to be focusing on. We're not really getting into the paper versus plastic. It'll be that, retailers will need to decide if they're going
How they're
to
gonna go about it.
offer a paper bag. But ours is, and the many studies have found that in communities where this, not the communities that just passed them, but that have had this enacted, it is a culture change, and more and more people start bringing their reusable bags, and it actually costs the businesses less because they don't have
Yeah,
to buy,
right,
so many bags, and it really becomes, win-win
It's
overall.
just a,
It just
it's a
takes the
behavior
time,
issue.
exactly.
You know, it just takes time.
Hold on.
So I'm 100% behind this. My question is, with the offenses, where did you pull the monetary offenses?
Duxbury, Marshfield,
And is it $50 a day? It's not per bag per day, or nobody's counting bags, it's just...
No, it's the Board of Health, and they come in with their regular checklist, and they see one day, okay, you're still using
They're handing out
plastic
bags,
bags.
$50
You get a
fine.
written warning, and then the next day, though, every day that they don't stop, it continues.
So it is
on.
daily?
Yes.
Okay, because my thought was that it's not prohibitive, like, what's it to somebody to pay $50 for a fine? So as long as they're going in every day and then that adds up, obviously that makes more sense. Okay.
Tony? Oh, I'm sorry. You're not done. I apologize.
No, it's fine. No, it's great. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to put it all together. This is a lot of work.
Yeah, just a couple quick questions. I was a little concerned, maybe Sean was going down that path about the paper, where there's also a restriction on paper that it has to be 40% post-consumer. I don't know what the paper is now.
It typically, so,
That's
yeah, to
typical.
answer that question, that is typical for what retailers are purchasing now.
Yeah, so I just wouldn't want, I mean, obviously, those are their two sources of providing people with bags to get out of it. I don't want to eliminate both of them. Like Sean said, I reuse those things all the time. It's probably, the second time is throwing something away in it. But I do see that we live by a sea community. If it gets outside, it can easily get in the ocean, and it could be an issue. So yeah, I don't know. I have mixed thoughts on it. I think overall it's great for the economy. I mean, are those bags that you have there made out of plastic?
Sometimes
mean, it
it's
seems-
recycled plastic.
It is a
Sometimes
different,
it's
but
a-
yes, yeah.
You can get
it's,
made out of
Sometimes.
But again,
last
it's
100
at
years,
least
right? I've seen
175,
some people.
uses, and
Yeah.
I don't
there
know
is
what
a
they- it's like
portion of
nylon,
plastic and nylon.
Right.
mixture of some kind, I don't know. And then this is just a decorative thing, so that's just this particular bag.
It's reusable.
Yeah, usually they feel like there's some sort of
Yeah, and they're washable. and-
plastic
and
material
durable.
as well. Great. And are all of you Scituate residents?
Yes.
Okay. Good, yeah, I would just want to make sure that we're not taking away both sources that the vendors will use to be able to bag people's products. So the paper thing is more of a concern to me than the plastic.
Maura?
So just building on that, I work in this industry, so I think it would behoove us or you to bring the stats forward. So how many retailers, typically use recycled paper? Half the bags out there that retailers have access to are made of recycled content today anyway, right? So maybe to pull together some stats to answer some of the concerns that folks like Tony and Sean may have, not understanding that in this industry, it's largely already moved that way, that folks are really buying recycled paper bags anyway. So just to get some data around that to make the argument, I think will be helpful.
So what I would say, absolutely, I think I'm hearing my board say that we're supportive of this, I think, which is a good thing. That's number one. Obviously, I think we need to circle back. I would probably think maybe in about a month and a half or so, maybe August. I guess the question is whether this goes on the special or annual. I have no problem suggesting putting it on the special this fall, which allows us to kind of get things in order. One thing is, okay, the proposed general bylaw, obviously, we need to take a look at that through town council, make sure that it's the way we want it, to make sure that it's so that when we go out, or you go out, I guess it depends whether we put it on, or if you get 10, is it 10 or 15 or 20?
It's 100 for a special town meeting.
Special, so in other words, to get the voters, or we could probably put it on. You should also probably talk to the Board of Health. I think that makes sense. I like the idea of the bags, trying to talk to, maybe try to get the information out. Are we talking about nylon? Are we thinking cloth? Are you thinking, what are you proposing for people to at least answer their questions? There are going to be some people who might say, I like the plastic bags because it's convenient, but we need to be able to explain, just as you did here, but we need to think about long-term. The other thing is, as I say, information. I think that's why we should circle back in about, a month and a half or so to see where we're at and how we propose going forward at a special, if that's what the board would like to do. I think it would be nice to have it at the special.
Sure.
I have one more question.
And, hold on one second. The only other thing is, lost my train of thought. It's bags only right now. There are probably other things we could think about and try to encourage, but I think right now it certainly sets a tone. We've been a green community, been one on the forefront. We may be a little late to this aspect, but there are 360 or 351 other towns, so we're not too late on it, okay? Tony?
It was me,
No,
sorry.
I have something as
Oh,
well.
you
but-
do? Okay. Does Sustainable South Shore provide any type of granting to help, some of our establishments sort of transition to this? So with any type of granting money to give to the village market or give to an establishment to invest in reusable bags? Just wondering if there's any grant money from the state to...
Sustainable South Shore does not, but the Mass Green, what is it called?
MAPC?
Yeah, Mass Green.
Okay.
Yeah, we can look
Can we
into
look
that,
into
but
that?
they've been saying very specifically, because so many communities are working
Right.
on it, that it's like, and they've just shown so many studies where it ends out cheaper, less expensive for the businesses in the long run.
They don't
But
feel
yeah,
that
the
they help.
transition, though, is the only,
Okay.
and that's why, like, the 6-month period we're giving, so that if you have the stockpile of the plastic bags, okay, you can, use them all up and, plan for it.
Thank you.
Tony?
The only other comment I had was, when I saw the article itself, it says reduction of single-use plastic bags, and we're really not trying to reduce it, we're really trying to ban it. So you may want, I just don't want to mislead people into thinking that, because I didn't know what your measures would be to say, okay, every other trip use it or something. I know you said that the food pantry can use it, and, which could kind of be, but I think it's really a ban of the bags. So I think it should be presented that way. And I don't think that'll necessarily hurt the cause, because I, put it before the town and let them vote.
Yeah.
But if that's what we're trying to do, then let's
Call it what it
just
is,
word that way.
because I think it's a good thing. I mean, that's my view. Okay, so why don't we do this then? We'll take what the proposed article, have town council take a look at it. In the meantime, I think we've given you some ideas, maybe so that we can circle back in about 45 days, somewhere in August. Does that make sense? I know with vacations and everything, and but I'd rather do it before the start of school, because we'll get right to special town, which is a meeting, which is probably going to be in October or so. So it'll happen very quick, and then we can go from there. How's that sound?
Oh, it sounds great. My only question then for you, John, is when we were talking to like Kathy Curran, and I think Lorraine is helping to get it on the warrant, they were saying to us that, like, soon,
We open it up,
right.
and we close it, and I can tell you right now, you're not going to be closed out of the warrant.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's all. We were just worried, like, we have to get out
Don't
there
worry,
and get
don't
the.
worry.
Okay,
We'll make sure of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Any questions from the audience? Anybody? Lorraine, did you have an observation?
Names and addresses if you would.
Oh, yeah. Lisa, if you could,
You can
and
write down your names
Kath,
and
and just you do that, that would be helpful, okay? All right, well, good. We'll look forward to seeing you come back, and we'll look forward to putting this together, okay? Ladies, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Going to move on. Kevin Cafferty, but I think it's Nancy, because Kevin, I don't think he's feeling a little under the weather. So we're going to discuss a vote DPW contracts. And there happens to be 4 of them. So we'll wait, once you get it set up, we'll get started, so everybody can move there.
Still one of these.
So this is as a result of what we discussed earlier with the, with Pam, right, Nancy?
Yes, that'd be 2 of the 4 contracts.
2 of the 4 contracts. All right. Trucks. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So the first one, Nancy, we're looking to get, it looks like we're buying it, is it from Monson Companies LLC?
Yes.
Bulk soda ash, sodium carbonate.
So it's
Year
the-
contract from July 1st, 2018 until June 30th, 2020, for total contract value not to exceed $80,000.
Correct. So this is through the Eastern Massachusetts Chemical Cooperative bid.
Yep.
It's the time of year when we put the chemicals out to bid. This year, they did a 2-year bid process. That's why it's a 2-year contract in front of you. And this was the winning bidder of that chemical cooperative, and it would be effective, pricing would be effective July 1st.
All right, and this is for the, is it the water department?
This one is for the wastewater department
Wastewater, sewer.
And
That's
this
why
would be
the salt's
funded
there.
through their chemical line item in their operational budget.
Questions from the board?
Just don't ask me what it does. It treats the effluent. It's my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, so let me just see here. As far as, do we need to go motion for each one of these?
Yeah.
I think so, yes.
All right, so why don't we take a motion on this one?
Move toward a contract of Borden and Remington Corp.
No.
Nope.
No, it's the
First we're
next
on
one.
Monson, the next one.
That was it.
Oh, you do it.
Went on a line. Move to award a contract to Monson Companies LLC for an amount not to exceed $80,000 for the purchase of bulk soda ash,
Yeah.
sodium carbonate at .1778 per pound for the period beginning July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2020.
Motion by Ms. Curran, seconded by
Second.
Ms. Canfield. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Next one looks like it's Borden and Remington Corp. for potassium hydroxide 2-year contract for the same term, except the value is for $180,000
That is correct, and this would be for the treatment of water,
of water.
drinking water.
The water. Questions from the board?
Just how much has it gone up? I'm sorry, I looked, I couldn't see it. Did it go up much, Nancy?
They
Do you-
all went up. I don't think any of them went down. I don't know the exact percentage.
Okay.
I'm sorry to say I
Yeah,
don't.
no, we don't have much choice here, probably. So,
Okay. Is there a motion?
Move to award a contract to Borden and Remington Corp. for amount not to exceed $180,000 for the purchase of potassium hydroxide at $3.0193 per gallon for the period beginning July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2020.
Motion by Mr. Vignani.
Second.
Second by Ms. Canfield. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right, now we're moving on to a 2018 Chevy Silverado. It's a replacement truck number 34. Looks like we're purchasing a 2018 Chevy K2500 and with a utility body for $52,907.85.
That is correct. The appropriation for this was at the April 2018 Article 300 for $53,000, and this does include an 8-foot snowplow system. Excuse me. Not 8 feet of snow. Never said that.
We don't want that.
Snowplow.
Send that back.
And this would be again, would be effective July 1st. That would be when the funds would be in place to buy this. The problem we're having is trying to find the trucks. You'd think you were trying to buy gold. They're really difficult to find the correct truck, the right color in a local area. And this vehicle and the next one are both through the Plymouth County Cooperative bid.
John?
And that was my question to Kevin and Jim, why do we bounce around? It's just for that reason, inventory. Dealers don't want to set these trucks out and sit on their lot, so they just will have bare trucks, and then you go to a body company and have it all put together, and that takes time. So very few are putting these things all put together. So it sounds like he's got what he needs, And as far as replacement of vehicles, highway, water, tree and park, we get our money's worth. There's nothing left when we're done with them. They, trade in, that's kind of a joke, but.
Agreed.
Other
Sorry?
questions?
Agreed.
All right, okay.
Any other questions, anybody? I'll take a motion, entertain a motion.
Move that the Board of Selectmen award the contract for the purchase of a 2018 Chevrolet 2500 utility body truck for the Water Department from Liberty Chevrolet for $52,907.85.
Motion by Ms. Canfield, seconded by Mr. Harris, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next one is also a 2018 Silverado Chevy 3500 with utility body for $51,000.
That's correct. This one was authorized again at the April town meeting, Article 3, double S. The authorizing amount was $51,000, so there won't be any money left over on this one. And it does include a 9-foot snowplow system.
Is this the van? No?
No, the van's still out there. They still have to replace the water van. That's one of the 2 vehicles of the 11 that were approved at annual town meeting that hasn't been purchased yet.
I just
Or
got it.
under
I was
contract.
curious, and I was going to ask Sean, they put a plow on the
No,
van?
that's a typo.
I have yet to see a van with a plow.
If they don't get it, if they get another, I think they were thinking more of getting another utility truck.
Right, but it did say van, and I
Said
just
van.
thought that
I
was
was
funny.
going to say, I have yet to see a van. Other questions from the board? Seeing none, entertain a motion.
Move that the Board of Selectmen award the contract for the purchase of 2018 Chevrolet Silverado 3500 utility body truck for the Water Department from Liberty Chevrolet for $51,000.
Motion by Ms. Canfield, seconded by Mr. Harris, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nancy,
Thank you very much, and I'm sure everyone in the water department will be very appreciative of vehicles that actually run.
Good.
Stop.
Thank you, Nancy.
All right, why don't we do this? Why don't we take a quick break? And we've been doing this for 2 hours, so gentlemen, you're up next. We'll give you an opportunity to set up. We're going to go to the Drew Company sewer discussion, but until then, we're going to take a 5-minute recess, folks. All right? Good.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, welcome. Brad, I'll turn this over to you. How's that?
Sounds good. And I'm going to read, these are my words, but I'm going to read a little script so that I don't leave anything out. Just wanted to give you folks context tonight. I know that Drew Company came before you in January to give an overview of the project. And prior to that, had been to the planning board at least twice. And at that meeting also, there was members of the EDC. So I think it's, at least in terms of something that has not yet been submitted, this project's been fairly well vetted. And there's, obviously, I think a lot to it. So I just not going to go over the aspects of the project
Tell you what,
itself.
why don't we introduce people first so that we can understand who we have here?
Sure.
How's that? Do you want to, whoever?
I'm John Drew, senior.
John, pleased to meet you.
John Peter.
Pleased to meet you again.
Yeah.
Excited town meeting, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I'm Bob Walsh, a consultant.
Bob, good to meet you.
I'm Jim Sandell.
I'm sorry, Jim, what's your last name?
Sandell.
Santel. Just make sure that Lorraine gets all the names. That would be helpful. All right, good. Good enough. All right,
Great,
Brad,
thanks.
continue.
So again, just providing some context for our project that we expect to see before the planning board, and here tonight to kind of start the sewer discussion with the selectmen. So as you know, there's a lot of development interest in the Greenbush area, and what we are trying to do is make sure that whatever gets developed is consistent with the town's established vision for Greenbush. This includes traditional village-style development that will be anchored by the commuter rail station, forming a pedestrian-oriented and traditional development pattern for both new development and redevelopment sites. There have been previous proposals for this site, the MBTA parcel, but none have met as many local planning goals as this one. With this team, I think we have a great partnership where we'll get the style and type of development that we want, where we'll get market rate and affordable rental units, a mix of retail and interesting public spaces, all next to the commuter rail and within walking distance or short biking and driving distance to many other amenities in town. And to top it off, this is all on land that is already cleared and paved, so no clear cutting, no great environmental impacts, and most importantly for the town of Scituate, it is not in the floodplain. And as again, this project is kind of been out there for a little while, so I think it's no surprise that addressing sewer capacity will be a key issue. That's why why they are here tonight and why I'm here to provide a little context. Unlike hooking up individual homes or small projects, allowing larger projects like this to connect can generate sufficient funds to actually help restore sewer capacity that's currently taken by the intrusion of salt water. Again, not a new issue for this board, as there's currently active projects underway to try and address that town-wide. Drew has committed to working with the town, both DPW planning and others, to identify a project that would free up capacity to allow their development to tie in and then some. So it's not just kind of a one-for-one. We would be looking to do a project, an I&I project that would allow, carve out or create that excess capacity to allow them to connect, but also existing homeowners as well. And then further, just to kind of add kind of what we'll be working on is on a kind of a parallel track is leveraging this development with the state and doing an application to the MassWorks grant program. This is the state's largest grant program that provides tens of millions of dollars every year towards public infrastructure projects that support the development of new housing and promote economic development. If we're successful in getting that grant, we can make even more significant upgrades to our system. So instead of doing, 1.5 times what this project requires, you could do 2 or 3. So you really could open up a lot of capacity for town. A lot of these grants, I don't want to say, I haven't done the math myself, but you consistently see grant amounts in the $1 to $2 million range. So I think we could really, kind of tackle that capacity issue that we have in town. And again, that's kind of it in a nutshell. Again, this development, I think, is consistent with what we want to see. Something eventually will be developed here. There is, as of right, zoning. What they're proposing right now actually is, although the planning board is considering modifying the zoning for the Greenbush area, this development could come in as of right with the existing zoning now. So I think it's critical that we're getting a development that a lot of folks have embraced, both the planning board, EDC, residents, et cetera. Folks seem very excited about this acting as kind of a new anchor for the new part of Greenbush. Certainly we want to embrace what already exists and enhance areas where there's redevelopment opportunity. So again, the sewer is the issue, but again, I think it's really already been identified that the obstacle for us is not what we can do at the plant, it's eliminating the salt water out of the system that we're currently treating. So these kind of large influx of cash vis-a-vis these larger development projects are really that opportunity to not put that burden on the taxpayer, to put it on folks that are coming in town that want to develop. And then if we're lucky enough, we can leverage state funds as well to make further improvements.
John?
I was just going to ask what might be different tonight, and is it the grant? Because I think I was on board, and my concern was, can I walk down the street and tell certain people that, yeah, we allowed this, this parking lot to be developed and be on town sewer, but by the way, they're creating more capacity than they need. So it's real simple, it's a no-brainer. But you just said something about being successful in them or us teaming together and get grant funding that might even increase the sewer capacity. Is that what you need from us tonight?
No, so tonight I think it's just to try and get your blessing to move forward on this parallel track to, like you correctly stated, the project, with or without the grant, would seek to add that capacity that's above and beyond what they would require. Right. What we are also going to do, and I've had preliminary discussions with the folks at the MassWorks grant program, they seem very excited about this project because it not only checks our boxes, but it checks all of their boxes because it's former state land, it's near a commuter rail station, so they were very excited about it. They're excited about the developer coming in, affordable housing, all that good stuff. So I think that's kind of like icing on the cake if we're able to get that. Certainly we're going to pursue it hard.
And that's great, but I guess, are there any more strings attached if you get this grant that you know of right now?
No, honestly, we could actually just do more I&I work. It would be great if we could do some enhancements around the site too, if we can do some streetscape or public realm improvements, but that would be the bulk of the money, would be just to do more upgrades to our system.
Good. Karen?
Just a couple of questions. On the MassWorks track, is that the town taking the lead, the Drew, or how are we approaching that work?
So they are grants to municipalities, so we would be taking the lead, but it would be, the grant funding would be towards a public project, but again, it's essentially leveraging this development, using this development, because it's what they like to see are the public-private partnerships. So none of our grant funding per se would go towards any of their development costs on their site, but it would be towards the public side of the project.
Okay, and Drew, you're going to support Brad in any way you can to reach that?
We are, yes.
Reach that, Brad.
Sorry.
The other questions I have are about this, where are we on the status of our sewer assessment that we wanted to initiate, Jim? I've lost.
Well, part of that is gonna be through funds from the Toll Brothers mitigation district.
Okay, so we're not out, that hasn't been done. So that, the question then is, how comfortable are you that we have assessed areas where we can make the improvements in which this would be possible?
Again, we would be working with folks that can answer that question better than I, but with, DPW. And again, I think they feel confident that we have plenty of projects that,
things.
yes, that need fixing. Yes.
Okay, that was it.
Maura?
Thank you. So for clarification purposes, the extent of the I&I would be to have like a net neutral impact, correct? And would that be at your expense with your contractors under our direction? I'm just worried about workload on the town, and capacity, if you will, poor choice of words, but just want to understand that a little bit better so the project could keep
That's
moving
what we
forward.
envisioned, and that's the
Okay.
direction we were going.
Okay.
We had already gone out to study one potential area, some streets that actually, when we took a look, we put some cameras in, it was actually in better condition than we thought, but that's that's one area. There are plenty of other ones that we're going to look at. But we were thinking in our initial conversations that we were going to be doing that work.
Okay.
It's still open to discussion.
Yeah, and hopefully, again, the kind of non-grant or the baseline project would be more than net neutral. It would actually free up additional capacity.
Additional? Okay, that would be great.
Yep.
And timing on this, prior to construction, during, how does that work?
Well, when we were here last, we were looking to get an extension from the MBTA in January, and we did. We're at now, and we haven't closed with them yet, because we do want to kind of take this to the next step with the board. That extension ends on the 27th of this month. So just to show another way to show you our commitment to the project is that we're going to be paying a fee to the MBTA to extend again through December. Which won't come up, basically won't be applied towards the purchase and sale of this project. So it's basically
In addition to.
a penalty. So it's in our interest to move this project along as quickly as possible. That extends us through December, and we have some work to do in pricing out the project with contractors. We've got another month until we have a traffic study completed that we will submit. So there is some work to be done, so I don't have the exact dates for you, but we are incentivized for a whole host of reasons to move quickly towards getting this project.
Okay. Thank you.
Tony?
Yeah, first of all, I love the project. I like the area that it's going in. I like the retail component of it. Before I get into the sewer component, I noticed in your pictures you still have the town land in there
Yes.
that has parking spots and stuff. Is that I know you have certain requirements of MBTA parking spaces and parking spaces per unit. Is that gonna be a problem without?
It's not, no.
Okay.
We had originally committed, I think, 240 spaces if that purchase had gone through. Now the revised agreement is for 196 spaces.
Okay, so that's.
And that land we're not going to touch.
Great. Now, in terms of the sewer, well, first of all, I think it's got to be way more than neutral, and I know Brad said that, but there's got to be a benefit to the community for this, and I'm very cynical about I&I work. I've been doing it for almost 20 years, so have at least the two of my other selectmen over here, and nothing's impacted it at all. So we've been processing at least 2 times our processed with seawater since we've started this, whenever it was, 15, 20 years ago. I know we're talking about the Sand Hill area and getting down on the point down there, hoping that that's going to have an impact, but I've never seen an impact of I&I that was positive. So I don't know what new magic pill we're going to have that's going to actually have an impact on the capacity at the wastewater treatment plant. But that's what I'm interested to hear. What are we gonna do that's gonna be different from what we've done before, because nothing's really worked.
Again, not knowing the projects that the town has undertaken in the last 20 years, I mean, I think what's being proposed or what's currently in the planning process certainly has a chance at being effective, should be effective. And then there's also vulnerable pump stations that I think we should look at where we're sucking in water. Again, that's not my area of expertise, but I don't know what the town did 15, 20 years ago. But certainly if you have clay pipes at or below the water line and you have old aging infrastructure where these kind of intersections of these various kind of infrastructure components are, those are all susceptible to leaks. So I think what we can do is, systematically just go and replace the ones where we know we have issues, and that should help alleviate.
I mean, again, I hope it works,
Yep.
but it's kind of critical, because if it doesn't work, there's no capacity to give you guys to have your units. And we've been replacing clay pipes for 15, 20 years without a noticeable difference in the capacity at the plant. So, again, I hope it works, and I hope that we get a huge pickup from Rebecca Road work that we're doing down there, but I'd love to see something other than, okay, we're gonna go down this street and see if we find a hole. Because I'm always amazed at the amount of water that we're processing that isn't in our waste system. So, and what do we do if it doesn't? What if we put another $1 million into I&I and we don't get the capacity, and we've got X number of new units coming in? What's the fallback plan for that?
Well, the engineers are gonna have to tell us exactly what we have for leaks in a certain area. We heard Kevin say that they're losing 40,000 gallons a day on Lighthouse Point. So I think someone has to be held accountable, to your point. So we remove those leaks, we don't line pipes, we replace them. And they're either pressurized or gravity, but they should not leak. So to your point, we should definitely notice a difference, or, these guys, it's not their first time doing it.
Yeah, no.
So, hopefully they.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be a downer on the project. I think
Right.
it's great, but I also know we're at what we've been told anyways, that we're at the brink of what our treatment plant can handle. So,
I mean, we need to find the leaks, not even for these developments, but even to connect future committed phases. So I think finding the solution, finding the problems and finding the right solution is critical regardless.
yeah, I mean, that's why we're looking to Hull.
It's not a capacity issue at the plant as to what we can handle, it's what we can discharge.
Right.
That's the issue. Before you can go back to EPA and DEP and say, we want to increase our discharge, they're going to say, what have you done about I&I? So we've done all the I&I, we've done everything we can. Then they'll talk to you about increasing your capacity going out. But until then, they're going to say, have you done all your I&I? No. See you later, don't come back to you for sure.
We've been through this. We've been through this a number of times.
Tony's right, we've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah, no,
Right.
the force main is a big difference out there. Rather than lining pipes, clay pipes, taking the old system, band-aiding it, this is something brand new. The pressure mains are supposed to be really designed for this type of thing, because the pressure in the pipe keeps the water from going in. Again, not what I do, not what Brad does, but the engineers are telling us, just Lighthouse Point, there's about 40,000 gallons a day in I&I if we can put in the pressurized system.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean,
Take that down, use this Mass Works grant, maybe take that down, Ocean View, do a lot of work on some of those pump stations, particularly the one right in Sand Hills, it's basically underwater on an island every time we get a flood. We can, from a theoretical standpoint, we can take a big chunk of that I&I out of there, increase capacity without having anything else.
I mean, I hope it works, but that's just my fear. Other than that, I think, like I said, I love the project.
So I look at it, I'm like, affordable, do we have an estimate at this point of what could be affordable, that's going to be affordable? It goes towards our count, I assume, correct?
Yes, it does.
I wasn't sure. Do we know that yet?
Not the whole, since it's not a comprehensive permit, there is an affordable requirement for the Village Overlay District, which of 15%, so it would be 15% of however many. Yep.
To me, obviously, aesthetics, it's clearly important, only because this is going to be built and it's going to be there for at least the next 100 years. It's, to me, Greenbush is the happening area. It's the trendy area. It's the first gateway area, and so you're going to be putting an imprint on that Greenbush for the future. And so I know that this is a rendering. There's some things that are interesting. I think it's kind of neat. Some things I'm like, well, it kind of looks like, it does look like housing. But I hope that you will take that seriously to make it look like it's a seaside, Scituate, unique, coastal Cape, something to that effect. I noticed you have a clock there. I think that's really unique. Just don't hire the clock company that was hired over at the high school, because it's not working. So if you're going to put a clock there, just make sure that that doesn't happen. And the only other thing is, are you still open to the parking lot if the town were to sell it? I certainly have not given up, the idea, if that's a possibility. I say that because I think the town missed an opportunity to sell the lot, and I'm certainly open to it. I don't know about the rest of my board, but I still see that is something that could augment and enhance the project. And from a town perspective, it's landlocked for the most part. But I agree with Tony and Sean and the rest of the board. Obviously, what's imperative is to be able to expand to find it, because the difficulty we have sitting up here as sewer commissioners is that there have been people who've been waiting for all these years, the phases. This is a good project. I'm not saying it's not, it is. And it's important that these projects go forward in conjunction with adding on capacity for residents who've been waiting. And I just want to make sure that, if we can augment that, that's perfect. It's a win-win all the way around. And I love the idea of the Mass Works grant program, if we can do something, because it's beneficial for everybody involved. So, all right, so from our standpoint, yes?
Sorry, one more follow-up question on
Yes.
that. The timing of the grant application for MassWorks, what's that look like right now?
So the portal is actually open now, and that means you do the whole application online, but the actual submittal dates, I believe, are mid-July to the end of August. So we already have a consultant lined up that will assist us with that, thanks to the EDC. So that it's a consultant that we work with frequently and is very familiar with Greenbush. And again, they'll be providing that assistance to package this up.
Is it a rolling decision, or do they put them all in a pile and then decide?
Right now, they do sometimes do multiple rounds, but this right now is this upcoming application deadline's August 30th.
Thanks. Sorry, John.
Are there questions? I almost moved on. Questions from the audience? Anybody? No? In the back?
Pennycrest Road, of course I'm going to say something. I've been on.
10 Pennycrest, right?
10.
There you go.
I've been on EPC for a number of years, and this type of mixed development is exactly what we've been looking for. They come before the planning board, and again, they're willing to work with the planning board, but this is, for all of us, a win-win, which we put together situation. If we can get this sewer thing squared away, I think that we would be far ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so, Brad, going forward now, you heard our board, what we're looking at. So what do you need from us at this point, and what do you just informing us, or are you looking for like a nod for us to go forward with the grant? Is that what you're?
I think just kind of an informal blessing about the kind of proposal to move forward, identifying an I&I project, and on that parallel track to identify a larger project that we go through for the MassWorks grant. Again, obviously they have to come with hard numbers and engineering and formally, petition Kevin and you to connect, but this would be just, kind of a nod so that we can move forward.
Is that my board hearing,
Couldn't
saying,
agree more.
thinking that?
The more we
I'm
delay
not-
them,
Yeah.
the more it's costing them. So
Yeah.
anything we can do to keep your costs down.
So, you've heard us, then that's exactly what we want, like you to do, and proceed forward if that works.
The only thing I would add, we believe we'll find a project that will hopefully satisfy the needs of the town. That's why we extended.
Good.
So the work with Brad and with the engineering department has been fruitful. We haven't found the right project yet, but we've looked at a couple, but we will. So hopefully when that gets laid out, we'll be pleased with that. And I think that working together on the grant will help strengthen the case of winning the grant. So we're counting on both of those things.
This is a positive project, and having worked with other developers on the zoning board, I have to say that it's refreshing. It's a partnership, and we're trying to help you out, and likewise, you're helping the town out, and so we look forward to it. We do.
Yeah, and clearly you're vested. I mean, we get it. So we want to make it work. We just,
Want to make it work.
that's just the critical component.
We're just like ready to start before
You want
get to
bathrooms in your unit, so.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, well, good. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
so
Good
much.
to see you again, all right? Okay, new business. Let's get back to business. I think we have one day. Has anybody got them in front of them?
I do. Want me to do it?
Go ahead, Karen.
Karen, go right ahead.
All right. Move that the Board of Selectmen approve one-day wine and malt licenses to Ellen McKenzie for an event at the Scituate Maritime Center on June 22nd from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Riva for an event at the Scituate Maritime Center on July 7, 2018 from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Tailor-made bartenders for an event at the Inn at Scituate Harbor on June 24th, 2018 from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Tailor-made bartenders for an event at the Scituate Maritime Center on June 30th, 2018 from 6 to 10 p.m. Silent Chef for an event at the Scituate Maritime Center on June 24th, 2018 from 12 to 4 p.m. Silent Chef for an event at the Scituate Maritime Center on June 29th, 2018 from 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. Silent Chef for an event at the Scituate Maritime Center on July 15, 2018 from 12 to 4 p.m. And Silent Chef for an event at the Scituate Maritime Center on September 18, 2018 from 5 until 9 p.m.
Motion by Ms.
Is there one more?
Canfield.
Is there Rivas?
There's Remus separate.
Did I say Riva? Did I-
No, it's on the thing here.
Oh, it was added, I'm sorry, I was reading from that. And the final is for Riva at the Scituate Maritime Center, July 6th from 6 to 10 p.m.
Motion by Ms. Canfield,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that takes care of that. Now let's get to discuss, and if need be, vote board and committee appointments. How's that? So why don't we do this? If you want to get your information in front of you, let's just take a look and start with some of these. I do believe that the zoning and the waterways, we should postpone because we still have some applicants, as well as the zoning board still having a hearing in front of it. Are there other boards or committees that we want to hold off until the next meeting? Otherwise, I want to proceed down.
I'd like to proceed with some. If we-
Okay,
if
so
we can.
there's some
There's
of them.
Let's start with the,
Board of Health?
Should we do the Board of Health?
let's start with the Board of Health. Now, hold on, let's see here. Board of
So
Health.
what sheet are we going off of?
I would say, start with the executive action suggested motions, what I certainly use for the motion, and then what we should do is go to Board of Health, which happens to be tab 5, if you want to work off that.
Right, so obviously, there's two very strong candidates there. Wendy and George. I mean, I think there's just some maneuvering that we've got to figure out who would be on a different board. And I haven't done all that stuff.
Do you want to,
Well,
Why don't we-
Board
why don't
Board
we
of
hold
Health,
off?
well, Board of Health, you have someone that's gonna resign, and he's been hanging in there, Steve Pansy, so I think he may have wanted to move a year or so ago, but hung in there, because there weren't anybody stepping up.
Is that Stephen?
Steve Pansy,
Okay.
correct.
I mean, I think Wendy would be a great asset.
I agree.
She was here late too, waiting. And I think there's some other options with George.
I think Wendy's got 6 other options too, so I don't know.
I think Wendy is a registered nurse, and it is her first choice to be on this board. I know she's very anxious she indicated that. She put so many down because she really wants to serve.
Oh, there's no doubt that she's,
Yeah.
I
she's
think that
good.
her strengths for this board are, they would add a lot.
I think they're most appropriate.
She, working as a Realtor too, she's in and out of houses, she gets sewers, she gets a lot of things that really are the day-to-day of Board of Health. So I think she's a really strong applicant. And I would like to see, I think George, he was indifferent to which committee that he wanted to be on. And I think that as an attorney, he'd be a really strong candidate for zoning board.
Right, but there's other people on zoning board too.
I
that are
know,
Not open,
I
so.
know.
And Wendy said she's got 6 here that she'd like to be on.
Right. Well, I'll make a motion to appoint Wendy Olisiak to the Board of Health for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training program is completed within 30 days.
Second?
All right, so we have a motion by Maura Curran, seconded by Mr. Harris. Discussion? All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right. So if we could, Lorraine, also send a letter to Mr. Panzi thanking him for his service, that'd be perfect. Thank you. All right, so that takes care of Board of Health. We can do, it looks like, what's the Mass Port Authority? Is that, we need to vote on that right now? No, let me see.
Does that have to be a, so I'd like to hold on that one if we could, just because the only applicant is on vacation and has also applied for other
Have they come before us?
choices. Yes.
Okay.
What number's that?
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
So,
It is,
the Massport Authority, Logan Airport, they meet, what, 4 times a year? Does it have to be a resident? I mean, should it, I'm just wondering, you know, how Brad is taking on what is he taking on, South Shore Coalition? I'm just curious why that is a resident, actually, that's on the Massport Advisory Board. But you don't have to answer me now. I mean,
It's always been a resident on the state.
yeah, I just find it interesting that we have a resident going to that. Jim, what is it like in other towns?
Can we appoint you?
Yeah. Move it to official.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought, it was odd that we had a resident going up
I
there.
thought you meant take someone from out of town. No, you're talking about taking an employee, a department
Yeah, or
something.
us,
Yeah,
or
right, right.
somebody
Okay.
that's a
Yeah,
little bit more.
Well, for years, we had a gentleman who was a resident who was an expert at it, and I
Yeah.
cannot remember.
Pilot?
Gary Banks.
Gary, thank you. That was him. Yeah, for years. So.
He's 80 years old and he doesn't want to do
He's
it.
done. Yeah, he doesn't
We
wanna
can't
do
talk
it.
him into another 5.
I tried.
yep, this one is there. Okay.
So can we table that a bit?
All right.
All right, so we're going to table that one, Lorraine. Let's go to Recreation Commission, which happens to be tab 20.
They're good applicants.
We have 2 openings and 2 renewals. 2 renewals are Al Kozlowski, Jennifer McMillan. Both were appointed in 2014. They were 4-year terms. They've only served 1 term each. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Of the 4 people, 3, this was their first choice.
I'll make a motion if you want.
Go right ahead.
I'll make a motion for Dave Meharry to serve, oops, let me get my,
Number 3.
yep. Move to appoint Dave Meharry to Recreation Commission for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Laws online training program is completed within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Vignani, seconded by Ms. Canfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion then to, I know we have some other first choices. I'd like to move to appoint Suzanne Brennan to the Recreation Commission for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training is completed within 30 days.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Curran.
Second.
Second by Ms. Canfield. I'm sorry, I didn't do this last time. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Takes care of that.
Do we need to do the renewals?
Reappoints?
Yes.
Move to appoint Al Kozlowski to the Recreation Commission for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training program within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Vignani, seconded by Mr. Harris. All those in favor?
Aye.
And also move to appoint Jennifer McMillan to the Recreation Commission for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law training program within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Vignani, seconded by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, good. That takes care of the Recreation Commission. We're going to skip number 4, which is the zoning boards for tonight. Table that one. Then we have Scituate Beach Commission. That happens to be tab 29, and I think we only have one applicant, which is
Mary Jo?
Mary Jo. Let's see. Yes, because the other one was Wendy. Actually, we have Wendy.
There's a couple of
who-
second
she's in.
choices.
Well, we appointed Jamie to
appointed Jamie.
COD.
And I see Robert, RJ's here, but I think he's interested more in the
EDC?
EDC, right? Yep.
So that leaves us with Mary Jo.
So I'll make a motion
Okay?
to appoint Mary Jo McNally to the Scituate Beach Commission for a term of 3 years until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training program is completed within 30 days.
Motion by Ms.
Second.
Curran, seconded by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, now we also have 2 renewals. It looks like we have a renewal for Nancy Fay and also Stephen Tripp.
Move to appoint Nancy Fay to the Scituate Beach Commission for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named, and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training program within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Vignani, seconded by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
And also move to appoint Stephen Tripp to the Scituate Beach Commission for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named, and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training program within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Vignani, seconded by Mr.
Second.
Curran, Ms. Curran. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I did it on purpose.
Okay. So, that takes care of the Beach Commission. Takes care of the Recreation. We skipped that one. Skipped that one. No, we didn't do that. We didn't. Okay, so, let's move on to Coastal Advisory. I see George Humphrey.
What number is that?
That is tab
30.
30. Now, is George Humphrey coming?
Until July 10th.
Is that our next meeting? So why don't we skip that, because we are going to be interviewing some people on the 10th,
Okay.
and we'll hold off on that one, okay?
Yep.
Okay, Economic Development. Why don't we table that for the
Yeah,
next
that's what I
meeting?
was thinking.
Or I'll entertain a motion, how's that?
Where's the, what
What
number
was
is
that
that?
What number
woman's,
is it?
That
that woman's
happens to
name?
be
15?
number 8
I needed
as
help.
our motion.
I'm tired, I don't know where they are.
Move to appoint Robert R.J. Dwyer to the Economic Development Commission for a term of 3 years until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training program is completed within 30 days.
Motion by Ms. Canfield, seconded by
Second.
Ms. Curran. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
RJ, congratulations.
Thank
You go to
you.
bed now. Thank you for waiting.
Okay,
Terrific.
water,
Want to renew that?
oh, let's do the renewals, yep, I'm sorry. Which is tab
Oh,
15.
15?
Move to appoint, move to reappoint Kelly Nolan to, already did Kelly?
Nolan Kelly.
No,
Oh,
no,
I'm sorry. It's getting late.
Sorry.
No, I'm glad you, I didn't know what you were talking about.
It's late.
And we're on the EDC, okay, so move to appoint Nolan Kelly, reappoint Nolan, to the Economic Development Commission for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training program is completed within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Harris, seconded by Ms. Canfield. All those in favor?
Aye.
So that completes the economic development. Done. Waterways, we're going to hold off on till the next meeting, which means we're going to move on to South Shore Coalition. Do we need a vote on that?
Did we decide it?
That happens to be tab, what?
Coalition.
What number is that?
Let me find it.
10. No, no,
10?
no, I lied.
That's-
South Shore is 22.
22.
Cute. We have one opening, and it looks like Ann's not here, right? Otherwise, I'd nominate her, but that's
No,
all
she
right.
doesn't want to do it anymore.
And no one
I
there.
guess it's Brad
Is
Washburn.
it Brad?
It's Brad.
So,
He's all by himself.
Move to appoint Brad Washburn to the South Shore Coalition for a term of 3 years or until its successor is named, and completion of the Conflict of Interest online training program within 30 days.
Okay, motion by Mr. Vignani, seconded by Mr. Harris. All those in favor? Aye. All right, so that takes care of South Shore Coalition. Affordable Housing Trust, do we have renewals on that one?
I think we all, I think everybody saw renewals.
Yeah.
What number?
That's going to be
5.
number
No,
2?
2.
2.
Move,
Hold on. Everybody's up for renewal the same year?
I think what we were supposed to do
we should
is
stagger
them.
Yeah.
There's 1 or 2 year appointments if you'd like to stagger.
Well, not having spoken to them, some might want to just re-up for 1, right? Some
Well,
might
they all
want-
expect to be 2, so whatever you want to do is fine,
why do they expect to be 2?
because that's what it's.
It's-
It's a 2-year
Oh.
rotating term.
Now, are you?
You can,
Re-up them.
Or are you on that?
no, I'm on it. John's the liaison. There has to be a Board of Selectmen on it. So I'm on.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we alternate? We'll do 1 and 2, not because we're trying to send a signal to any of these trustees, but it's just that otherwise what happens if everybody said, I don't want to do it anymore? We're going to have
Which is what
an
happened
exodus.
before.
Yeah, we'll have a huge exodus and nobody's
You
going to
could
be
do
on it.
you could do Barbara and Ruth, and we'll just explain it. They're the longest
Yeah.
standing members, and,
I would.
they're making a lot of progress, and, I don't think they'd be offended.
No. No, I
They
think that's what we can
understand.
do, and I'm happy to explain it to them.
Them
Just
one.
said that we just
Yeah, I
want to
can
make sure
explain
that
it
we're
to
not
them.
going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's,
Okay.
Just that they're the oldest and longest
and
standing
the
members.
other ones too, so at least,
Move to reappoint Barbara Cox to the Affordable Housing Trust for a term of 1 year or until a successor is named, and completion of the Conflict of Interest online training program within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Vignani, seconded by Ms. Canfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's Barbara.
Should I abstain, since I'm on it, for all votes? No? Okay, then
Two on
aye.
it.
Okay.
Move to appoint Ruth Wagner to the Affordable Housing Trust for a term of 1 year or until a successor is named, and completion of the Conflict of Interest online training program within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Vignani, seconded by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye. Well, you do me 1 year, too, and then you do the other 2, too.
Why don't we just put them all? You, 1 year?
No, and then the other 2, you have 2, and then that way you have everybody staggering.
All right. How about move to appoint Maura Curran for a 1-year term?
So moved.
Move to appoint Maura Curran to the Affordable Housing Trust for a term of 1 year or until a successor is named, and completion of the Conflict of Interest online training program within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Vignani, seconded by Mr. Harris. Discussion. Why don't we just do it in perpetuity?
For a 12-year term.
12-year term, like a 50-year term. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, so
Abstain
Maura's a
on that one.
1-year term. So we make a next motion for the both of them. How's
Move to
that for 2 years?
appoint Stephen Irish and Nancy Chapman to the Affordable Housing Trust for a term of 2 years or until a successor is named, and completion of the Conflict of Interest online training program within 30 days.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Vignani, seconded by Ms. Curran, excuse me. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. That takes care of Affordable Housing Trust. Animal Control Board,
No openings, 2 renewals.
2 renewals.
What number?
That is
3.
number 3. 2 renewals happen to be Ashley Davis and also Brian Capadano.
Move to reappoint Ashley Davis to the Animal Control Board for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training program is completed within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Harris, seconded by
Second.
Ms. Curran. All in favor?
Aye. And move to reappoint Brian Capadano to the Animal Control Board for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training program is completed within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Harris, seconded by
Second.
Ms. Curran. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that takes care of Animal Control. Beautification Commission, which happens to be number 4. We have
2 resignations, 1 new person, and 3 renewals.
we have 1 applicant.
we're still interviewing, aren't we?
Yeah, We haven't seen this person, Humphrey, right?
She's coming to the next meeting.
Okay, so let's hold off. How about if we have 2 openings, 3 renewals, right?
Do the renewals?
Do the renewals. All right?
Move to reappoint Leslie Danielle, Lori Hall, and Kathy McCormack to the Beautification Commission for a term of 3 years or till an successor is named, and completion of the Conflict of Interest online training program within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Vignani,
Second.
second by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. If we're getting too far ahead, let us know, Lorraine. Okay, that takes care of beautification, except we have 1 interview on that. Cable television, which happens to be tab
1 opening,
8.
no.
There's 1 opening.
Is that a new opening? I mean, do people know that there's an opening there? That
We're
seems,
not going to fill the opening. It's a new opening. I'm pretty sure it was advertised.
so we don't,
Received that.
yeah, we have no applications.
8.
8?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, look at the coastal,
So
jeez.
question, if nobody did the application, do we have the discretion down like a month from now?
Yep.
Somebody?
Yes.
Okay.
I know the answer. Yes, in other words, if somebody applies, we can appoint them.
Right, we don't have to wait until
It's the
the,
never-ending appointment process.
we love it. It's a rolling admissions process?
No, not really. The applications are due by a certain date.
Right.
But yes, if someone's very interested, or when we finish this whole process, if we have openings, and you choose to advertise those, I'm
Okay.
So, how about
Move to
somebody
reappoint Al Bangert to the Cable Television Committee for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named, and completion of the Conflict of Interest online training program within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Vignani, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we have CPC, which is tab 11.
No one applied for this?
Just checking.
No, I don't remember.
I don't see
saying.
any.
Didn't advertise an opening, because there are no openings.
Was this?
There's 1 renewal, he's only been on there 1 term.
That's right.
But that's an opening.
Yeah, I agree.
Mr. McShane.
So we didn't even advertise it?
We did not, no.
So in the future, we need to advertise them even if there's renewals, because you're not automatically renewed after your term?
Right, I understand. You'd like I can advertise.
I think,
I think I said there may be openings on CPC.
I think this is a good group.
I'm not saying I didn't advertise it, I have to go back.
Looking at it the other way, if I'm one of these people and I've attended every meeting, and I'm up for renewal, and you advertise it, or you put yourself in that position, would that put a bad taste in your mouth? Well, geez, man, they're gonna go, gonna reopen, for candidates, they must not like the job, the job I'm doing. And I could see if you weren't participating and going to the meetings, but, we have that ahead of time, we find out. Do you think that's the person could be looking at?
Your
in a-
term then.
Okay, but let's say you don't fall into that. I've only done 3. Is that putting a bad taste in someone's mouth if they see that?
Yeah, but you don't want to, the term's 3 years for a reason.
Yeah.
To review it again.
I agree with Tony. I think.
All right,
And
okay,
I
I'm
mean,
just flipping it upside
But I
down.
agree, rarely do we not extend somebody unless
Right.
somebody either resigns or we hear that they're not participating or something like that.
Okay.
And that's
All
not the
right.
case here, he does a good job, so.
All right, okay.
Shouldn't be a given. I
All right,
agree with
okay,
Tony on that a
all
little
right.
bit. A lot of it.
But I'll make
But
a motion.
Yeah, exactly.
Move to reappoint Thomas McShane to CPC Committee for a term of 3 years or till a successor is named, in completion of the Conflict of Interest online training program within 30 days.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Vignani, seconded by Ms. Curran. All in favor?
Aye.
Conservation, we're going to move and skip because we have an interview, I think, the next one. I think Douglas Auberg, you assume?
Yep.
I'm sorry, who seconded the motion?
I
That was
did.
Ms. Curran.
I did.
Ms. Curran.
Conservation.
Okay.
Constable.
We can go to the constable, which happens to be number 13 tab. There's 1 renewal. It looks like it is Donald Ladd. Looking to renew.
Been there a long time, huh?
Move to appoint Donald Ladd as constable for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training program is completed within 30 days.
Motion by
Second.
Ms. Curran, second by Mr. Harris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This is interesting, because constables are like one of the oldest, shall we say, policing. It predates the police. It goes back to colonial times.
Right. We used to
Okay,
have
what are the constables?
dozens of them. Do you
Yeah.
remember, Tony or John? Tons of them.
I think what we did was we cut them back because most of them from out of town.
Right.
And only looking to be able to get paid for their service, for serving people. But you had a question, what was it?
What do constables do in the town of Scituate? Enlighten me.
A lot of them primarily do service of like complaints. If they may serve documents.
Oh, the actual, yeah, yeah.
I don't know if they have the police authority of bringing people to court anymore. Usually that's the sheriff, but traditionally they were your policing agent.
Thank you for that illumination.
It's history. All right, let's move on.
Don't answer the door if they come.
That's the short answer.
We have photos with us next time.
Council on Aging.
Why don't we postpone that one?
We're going to postpone that one. Second, let's go to the next one, Cultural Council, which...
Where's that?
That's a good question.
Wait, traffic and rules is the
No,
next one.
traffic rules is next.
Cultural Council is next?
Yep.
Then traffic rules?
Where's,
You have a different list than we do.
Situate, that should
I
be
have the list he has.
21.
yours says, yours says.
21.
Yep.
George Humphreys, 2 openings. Well, he is going to come to the next meeting, I believe, right? Or did we have
Yes.
George Humphrey,
Yeah,
right?
he's
All right,
already-
so
We should
let's,
probably wait.
we'll push that one to the next one.
We're
Cultural.
on
Situate
Situate
Cultural?
Cultural Council.
So we'll push that one over, okay?
There's 2 openings, so if anybody else wants to come on July 10th.
Now, let's go to Traffic Rules and Regulations, which is tab number 23. We have
Four renewals, no openings.
4 renewals and no openings. So who do we
So
have?
should we stagger these?
Yeah, these aren't,
It's a one-year term period,
oh, yeah.
Then
where the bylaws.
then let's not.
Could do 6 months.
Well,
Lorraine would like
well,
that.
look at it. You have citizens rep, and then you have the departments. So
Yeah, you're right.
they're really not,
And it's 1 year, so.
yeah, we know if they're retiring or something.
Motion?
Move to reappoint Dorothy Cook, William Sestito, Taylor Billings, and Sean McCarthy to the Traffic Rules and Regulation Commission for a term of 1 year or until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest online training program within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Vignani, second by Mr. Harris, all in favor? Aye. All right, so that takes care of traffic rules. Water resource,
25.
that is 25.
One
We-
opening, 2 renewals, no applicants.
So we could at least renew Martha Cook and Shirley Young.
Yeah, this committee
Wait,
works.
so what, I only see 2 renewals.
And there's
Am I
one
missing
opening.
something?
Someone, who's dropping out? Or is it open?
Oh, is Mike Clark still on it?
Yes,
Okay.
So who's the opening?
there's no openings, where do you see, oh, it could have been a problem from last year.
It's okay.
Okay, that's all. We just want to
Zero
make sure we
openings.
didn't have, we
Well,
had it
we
right.
must have had 300.
It's okay.
Okay, move to reappoint, oh, go ahead, Tony.
No, go.
Move to reappoint Martha Cook and Shirley Young to the Water Resource Commission for a term of 3 years until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training program is completed within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Harris, seconded by Ms. Canfield, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. If you go to tab 33, is the Sister City Ireland Court
Just
Council.
did that.
Are there any renewals? That's all I'm just checking.
Oh,
There is a renewal, 1, 2...
3 renewals.
3 renewals.
Oh, yeah. Good eye, John.
It's only 2 renewals.
3.
It says 3.
Move to reappoint Carol Sullivan Hanley,
Yep.
Yeah.
John Sullivan,
Yep.
and Peter Mahegan to the Sister City, Ireland for a term of 2 years or until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training program for within 30 days.
Motion by Mr. Vignani, seconded by
Second.
Ms. Canfield. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that takes care of the
John Sullivan?
sister city.
Yeah, mine thing says that his expires in 2019, so that's why it wasn't jiving with me.
Do we have to do historical?
Hysterical. We did John Sullivan's, he's done this year.
Okay, historical's the only other one we have left listed. And
And that one, what number is that, John?
that happens to be, all right.
Should we postpone that one?
Let's get to it. Economic. That is 16.
Well, and the applicant's coming in next week.
We have an applicant coming in next week. So why don't we postpone this one until the next meeting, which is not next week, but July.
Oh, my God.
Leo said, you know, he served on it for a long time, if you'd like to put someone else on, he's fine with that. Steve Litchfield would like to remain on it.
Steve-
Mike Rubio will be renewed if you don't have anyone else to report.
Okay.
It's fine.
Well, let's wait till we meet this guy next week.
I agree. All right. So Lorraine, what I have is I have.
It's a,
What?
is it a woman or a guy?
We'll find out.
All right. How do you pronounce that first name? Sistik?
So Lorraine, I have Board of Health, Mass Port Authority Advisory, Economic Development Commission. No, we did that.
Oh, we did those.
I guess Coastal Advisory, Waterways, Conservation Commission, Council on Aging. Did I have Council, Cultural Council? Those are the ones that we might,
postponed.
we passed on. I think.
The only one.
But I'll trust you, whatever you have down.
We didn't
The
do,
people that haven't been interviewed,
we didn't do 2, 4, 7, 9, 13, 16, and 18.
I don't know how we did this before you put all the stuff together.
I know, it's crazy.
I'm gonna be honest, Sean.
It's tough.
This is before you. I'm saying, I don't know how we did it, to be honest with you. I mean, that's not easy.
No, thank you,
We used to not
Lorraine,
even meet them.
and Allison, and everybody, it's crazy.
Oh, my gosh.
Huge. Great job.
my senior task, my senior task.
Oh, yeah, Marie, thank you, Marie. She's been in that side room for months.
Thank you, Marie. That's how she's watching.
So let me just get this off my table.
And Allison. And Michelle. Whatever.
Thank you, everyone.
Well, we had some great applicants, too, so I think we have some nice, strong boards.
Okay. Moving on to Selectmen Liaison appointments. So, where are we at? Shall we? Might as well. Get them done.
I printed a copy. That's what I
That list.
So right now, advisory is Maura.
But it's usually
Anybody
the chair.
looking to change any of your, so advisory is actually going to be mine. The chair gets it. So I'm taking advisory. All right. Affordable Housing Trust.
I can't take it because I'm on it.
I'm happy to stay on that, if that's okay. Liaison.
Yep.
I'll take that.
I'll
Get
do-
on my shoulders, everybody.
I'll do animal control.
I'll keep them all
Spare
mine.
me.
I'll take Animal Control, too.
Unless somebody wants
Say
it.
I'll
that.
take that. All right, so I'll take Animal Control Board. Perfect.
I'm happy.
3 for 3. Beach Commission.
I'm happy to give it to you.
John?
I'll take it.
All right, Karen's going to keep the Beach Commission. Beautification Commission. Tony, can you handle that if you want?
I'll keep that one.
I'm happy to take that.
Donna
for you.
Bangard is probably wishing I would leave, but no, I'll stick with that one.
Sean, do you want the Board of Health still?
Yes.
I'll keep the bylaw review.
Doesn't
Cable
exist.
television.
Want me to take cable, Sean? Do you want to, or do you like?
Yeah, no, you can. That's fine by me.
All right, so cable is now going to be Maura.
Sean gets ZBA.
Capital Planning Committee.
I'd like to stay on that,
All right.
unless somebody else is dying to.
Anybody? Capital? All right. Coastal Advisory Commission. I might actually defer to you.
Why?
Because I've got all these other ones.
Because you've never gone on. I'll be happy to stay on it.
Good. It's Maura Curran. Take me off it.
You've been so instrumental.
Commission on Disabilities, I'm going to keep. That one I want still. So I'll keep Commission on Disabilities. How many I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, get on my back, folks. CPC, Tony?
Yeah, I'll keep that unless somebody else wants it.
All right. Conservation, Maura?
It's fine, unless, yep,
All right.
somebody else wants it.
Council on Aging, anyone?
Do you want to get rid of that?
I might, only
have to get rid
because
of something.
I think I do. Yeah, I'm happy to.
I'm happy to, Karen has a ton, well, we'll see how it, I'm open to whatever.
Sean
doesn't
has
matter.
one.
No, I mean, I just think that I might be able to contribute with the, because of coming off the library project for the senior center and helping in that, but the rest of the issues.
Go for it.
What do you guys, do you want it more?
Nope, it's fine by me, I can take something else. You can offload something else if you want to.
All right, I'll take it.
All right, so Council on Aging's going to be Karen. I'll keep the EDC. Financial Forecast, Tony, still? All right.
Sure.
Historical Commission, I'm happy to keep that. Housing Authority,
Sure,
Maura.
yep. No
Planning
problem.
Board, Karen.
Trustees, I'll stay on planning board, yeah, that's fine.
Plymouth County Advisory.
Don't you have to do that?
I think you're banned.
You know what, I want us to, like,
I'll do it, whatever. It's,
get rid of it.
just leave me on there.
I'd like to disband the thing.
I don't want you representing us down there.
No, I think the residents want me to, because they want me to get rid of it. We're spending all that money, and what do we get out of it? We pay these guys $30,000.
Let's go. What's the next one?
It's
Each.
10:20.
All right, Housing Authority, Planning Board, okay, Public Buildings Commission.
I'll take it back,
Sean, you
Karen.
want that
Sure.
back? Yeah.
So that's gonna go to Sean, Public Buildings, so.
So is that, I got Tony? I'm gonna do
2?
You got
Sean
two?
gets everything else.
Recreation Commission?
I'll
You
do
guys still
that.
wanna split that, or okay?
You've been going. You've been going all the time. Do you want me to take it? It's up to you.
No, I get it. I don't, would you?
Sean, are you staying on that or coming on?
Well, I never go, because Tony goes, so.
Okay, so cross
You can
them
both
off,
go,
just
it's not a conflict.
Do you want it both? So-
I don't care. It doesn't, leave it both. Leave it that way, I guess.
All right, School Committee,
Keep it.
Tony and Maura?
Sure.
Or just Maura?
We're
Maura?
both.
Either.
Split it?
Yeah, we'll split it.
All right, Chamber of Commerce, I'll keep that. South Shore Coalition, Karen?
I can't do it anymore,
Which one? Social?
South Shore Coalition.
because I'm
You're on
for the
MAPC.
MAPC now.
What's the obligation to
Yeah.
that?
well, they-
Brad was appointed, but
Well, the problem with the South Shore Coalition is the meetings are in the middle of the day. And they meet once a month, and it's topical. It's mostly educational. It's very useful. But you go and, 1 week was all on tourism, and there's a whole thing on how Plymouth does stuff, and one's on transportation, and one's on that. But they're typically in the middle of the day in Hingham, once a month.
Once a month?
I can't
Yeah, I
do
think
that.
it's once a month.
Well, put me down beside you. If you can't.
I can't.
Oh, you
because
can't, cannot do
I
it.
have
All
to-
right.
I have to
I'll
send
share
it.
it with Sean if
All
we
right.
need to
Okay.
bounce off.
All right, so we have Maura and
Thanks, Maura.
Sean. Street Acceptance,
Interesting.
that's me. I'm taking it back.
Why, we just had one meeting.
You have
'Cause it's
to.
the chair.
Yes.
Oh, is that why I was on it?
yeah.
Ew, okay.
Get on my back.
No, they all wanted you.
They do.
Traffic Rules and Regulations, Karen?
Do you want to give that up, or you like it? You like it?
You can have it, Sean. I think I have enough.
Sean's
All right.
got it.
And it's
I-
what?
I do
6
like it, but
6
yeah.
o'clock?
5:30.
5:30.
Once a month. Or no.
Yeah, typically before these meetings.
Yeah, the one they just scheduled is before,
All right, if you don't mind.
Sean,
that's
got
fine.
it.
All right.
it's a fun group.
Veterans Advisory Council, Tony?
I'll stay on that.
Water Resources, Karen?
Yes.
Waterway, Sean?
Mm-hmm.
ZBA?
You.
I'll take it.
Have a great time. Good
So,
job.
I think we have it. So, Maura, I'm sorry, Lorraine. I take Advisory Committee now. Sean's gonna take, Maura's gonna take Cable Television.
Yeah,
Maura is solely on the Coastal Advisory.
yeah,
Karen is now on Council on Aging.
yes,
Sean is now Public Buildings Commission.
yes.
Maura and Sean are on the South Shore Coalition. I'm on the street acceptance, and Sean is taking over the traffic rules and regulations. We have our liaison positions. Good.
That was pretty quick.
That takes care of that. Moving right along. Liaison reports, anybody? Nope, good. Correspondence?
Oh, I do have one thing you really want to know, though. The first phase of the HVAC repair has been completed. The compressor was moved into the storage area and has made a profound difference. We still have the noise from this air going into the stuff, but they haven't put the baffles in yet.
Okay.
So that was good news.
Good. That's very good. Thank you. We'll hopefully have a report at our next meeting, since it will be completed. And I suggest we should all,
Want me to get them to come in for the next meeting?
here's what I would say.
July 10th, or you want the second meeting in July?
Make it second meeting in July, and in the meantime, maybe we can all go down there at some point to the library and just sit in the room and have them turn it on, and,
We're not going to have the meeting there?
you know, can we get it in the room?
Yeah.
If we have TV in there?
For the end of July?
Yeah, put it in there.
You can't film it live.
You can't?
Oh.
That's what I was wondering.
Okay.
They can record it.
You do a Facebook Live.
I'll talk to Seth.
Talk to Seth, we'll see. I'd like to do it there. And we'll have the viewers determine whether they can hear us or not.
It's like the Gong Show.
It's cone of silence from Get Smart. We'll just have to speak loud. All right. Correspondence.
We have the classic cars in the harbor are going to be in
Cole Parkway?
Cole Parkway on June 21st, July 19th, and on August 16th. It's the 4th annual at Otis and Cole Parkway. That's exciting. We have a letter from the MAPC announcing that the Climate Community Resilience Building Workshop is open to the public for a public comment and education that will be held at the Community Center at 79 Jericho on Tuesday, July 17th, 2018, from 6 to 8 p.m., and refreshments will be served. The workshop will bring together community members like you to reduce risk and improve climate resilience. Their participatory event where local knowledge and expertise will help in the MAPC's analysis of this problem. Let's see, there's a nice flyer, that would have been easier to read. We have a letter from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Seaport Economic Council, addressed to Town Administrator, thanking us for our correspondence. Town of Scituate Municipal Marina Project Amendment request has been approved, and we are pleased to support the request for additional time and resources to complete the bid. Looks like you'll be continue to make progress, and I'm looking forward to getting another necklace from, oh no, it doesn't say that. Forward to visiting Scituate. It's from Karen Polito, and Tom, what's your name? Jim referenced this at the beginning of the meeting, that she brought with her the another payment towards that project. There's a letter from Scituate Public Schools dated June 4th to our chairman and the Board of Selectmen. Do you want me to read the whole thing or summarize?
Summarize if you can. It's up to you, whatever it's easiest.
Okay, this is, the school committee has informed us that they have determined that the parcel of land commonly referred to as the Ellis Estate is surplus, and are informing us of that. This is exciting. On July 19th, it's a Thursday night from 5 till 7. There'll be a ribbon cutting for the new South Shore Pier Recovery Center Grand Open Celebration. That's at 51 Cole Parkway, the backside of Cole Parkway. And the public is invited to join for music, storytelling, and refreshments. We have a nice email from Eileen Boza, and she would like to thank whom, I'm not sure who to contact with this, but I want to thank you for fixing up Hummerock Beach. It is a wonderful treasure, and all of us, wait, I can't read it, and all the more so now that there's a path to walk on. The rocks are much more under control, and there is sand. Thank you so much. So that's nice. Oh, John's favorite correspondence from Xfinity. We have another letter about package equipment changes to the board and to the chairman. It says that they will now be separating out TV box and remote, and will billing them separately at $2.68. There's good news. And, oh, this one's sideways. Let me pull it up. Oh, this was today. Today, I guess this is a report too. Council on Aging held their volunteer appreciation celebration this afternoon. Mr. Bedreau and I attended, and I was excited about it because there were over 94 volunteers that participate in helping the Council on Aging. So it was a really good event. The Council on Aging did a nice job, and that was today. So that was exciting.
Great.
And are these the others? Okay.
Rock Dune Nourishment?
Yeah, so June 25th at 6 p.m. at the Scituate High Performance Arts Center. That's this Monday. There will be a discussion of the Hummerock Dune Nourishment and road elevation engineering designs. The public is invited and encouraged to attend, and there will be the engineers and town officials on hand to discuss that. The liquor license, is that part of this package?
No, Bastille Day.
Oh, Bastille Day, which I don't have. Oh, here's.
Isn't it the 14th?
You don't know when July 12th, which is not Bastille Day.
That's what I thought.
Bastille Day was celebrated on June 12th, 2 days early, at 6.
July 12th.
I'm sorry, July 12th, 2 days early, at 6:30 to 9:30, 10 Jericho Road. Ticket prices are $25, and the proceeds will support the Scituate Sancy Sister City Partnership's ongoing activities.
Thank you. I just want to at least point out for people who are watching TV at this late hour, this Saturday, I think, the 24th, Cohasset Triathlon from 7 to 9 a.m., Water Street, Gannett Country Way, Main Street in Cohasset. Also, there's a Scituate Fest Music Festival, Cole Parkway, at the bandstand from 2 to 8 p.m. on June 30th. And what's the other one? The Knights of Columbus. It's going to be coming up. Carnival, Cole Parkway, 7-Eleven, July 10th through the July 14th. So keep that in mind. Other business from anyone?
Nope.
Tony, did you want to talk about the Gates thing, innovation?
I'm trying to see if the lacrosse team won.
If what?
He wants to go on sports.
Sports.
Oh,
So-
sports. Well, I'll talk about it because I went.
Go ahead.
Did you go to the Gates thing today?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't want to steal your thunder. I don't know who won.
Oh. Well, the Scituate lacrosse team is in the semifinals, semi-state finals. Did you get a tweet or anything if they won tonight?
I haven't checked actually right now.
Can't find it. But that's huge to get, they win there in the state finals, so. And as well as all the other sport teams did great. Tennis did awesome. Baseball did well. And what was the other? One other team did very well in the state tournament. In terms of the Gates 7th grade presentation, is that what you're referring to?
Yep.
So today they had a contest in the 7th grade where a bunch of groups got together and they tried to come up with an idea that was that would help the town of Scituate. And they broke up into groups, they did presentations, and today they had the finals. And myself, Gary Meyerson from CPC, Brad Washburn, and Kevin Cafferty went and judged the final presentations.
Oh, that's nice.
And it was unbelievable. These kids get up and they speak so well, and they do these PowerPoint presentations that are unbelievable. And they had many different themes of things that could help the town, like a bus service and inflatable seawalls and something that kind of coincided with the fax program. And gosh, there were so many of them. And the one that won were these three young ladies that did a great presentation on kelp farming. And that was the group that ended up winning. There was another one that did sea farming, but very impressive. The teachers do a great job preparing them for not just learning a subject, but learning a skill set that'll help them for the rest of their life. So it was a great presentation, and they did an awesome job.
That's
So
something they do,
impressed all of them.
that's something they do every year. I haven't heard of that.
No, I think it's new.
I think this is new. Yeah, I think it's a
It's
new
all part
program.
of like the project-based learning
Right.
curriculum that the school
Okay.
has.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
it's good.
So it was great. Mrs. Yassim, Mr. Colbert, the whole teams got together and pulled it together. It was a great time. Any word?
I couldn't find it.
That's
Well,
all I got.
that's it. So let's move on to approval of the minutes, meeting minutes.
Move to accept the minutes for the Board of Selectmen meeting held on June 5th, 2018.
Motion by Ms. Curran, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Finally,
He's here, right?
move to adjourn, sign documents.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Canfield, seconded by Mr. Harris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye.
Good night, folks. Thank you again.
Aye.